You are about to witness history in the making.
Hey there everybody, and welcome to the Pop Culture Gamers. My name's Hayden and this is episode 7 and it's the 9th of April, and I'm joined by my partner in crime, Steve. Hi Steve.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. So what's your week been like then, Steve? Let's get straight in the intro, shall we?
Let's no messing here. So
no messing, well it's straight to business.
So I say not a lot going on, but I've booked some time off for May Bank holiday. So I might be away. So I've tagged a day either side of that to give me a nice 5 days off. So
yeah, nice.
So that'd be pretty good. Been doing some work on the Wise Woman Cave. Yeah, they do have them today.
Don't tell my wife; she'll want one.
Oh well, yeah. We'll have to share it next time. If she comes.
I have a mother cave instead.
What else have I done? Oh yeah, I booked tickets. So I'm already going to be seeing War of the Worlds in December, and now I've got tickets to see the Human League and Midger that's in November. About November the 30th. So that was a spur of the moment booking. That was, to be honest.
Oh, very cool.
But you see, the thing is, I've seen Midger before with Ultravox, and he's going to be brilliant because he's great with what he does. The Human League, I actually missed out on a tour because I had a car accident.
Right.
So I had tickets back in the 80s, but never got to use them.
Yeah.
So this will be reliving what I should have had back in the 80s.
That'll be good, because one of my biggest regrets is years and years ago. Remember when Michael Jackson did a tour of England? Oh,
there was a few, because he did the Bad tour, was one of them, wasn't it, at Wembley Stadium?
It was the last one he did.
Oh yeah, the one that he didn't make.
No, he made.
Oh,
it might have been a bad tour, because it was actually the early 90s, thinking of it. So that would have been bad, wouldn't it then?
Yeah, not so bad. But no, because the last tour he didn't do, was it? Because that was when he died.
Yeah, no, these ones he definitely did.
Right.
And my mother's cousin, who, obviously near the age of my mother, but, she was still, really like pop music and whatever. She turned around to me and she said, "Do you want to come along? Because I've got a spare ticket." And I was sort of like, nah, because I just thought, I don't want to be, in a crowd of, 25,000 people or whatever, and, just seeing this little dot of Michael Jackson. And anyway, when she went, she was right at the front.
Did you not go still then? You didn't get there?
No, I never went. As a matter of fact, it's one thing in my life, I've never been to, like, a big concert.
Really? Oh, I've done loads.
See, I just don't like crowds.
So you don't like to be amongst 50,000 people in one sort of stadium?
No, creeps me out, to be honest. So,
But yeah, I'm pleased that we're going to go and see them, because, as I say, I had a car accident and we drove. I think I've said this story before. You might have heard it. So where we drove a car through a house, and that did my back in, believe it or not. Even though
I'm not surprised driving it through a house.
Well, I was a passenger, so it's I was, even though I got out of the car okay, and we because the car was parked in the lounge. Just the next morning I was screwed and just couldn't move. So the tickets for that event never happened.
The person who was driving, you did tell them that they should have parked it in the garage, didn't you?
Yeah, he missed the cul-de-sac and hit a tree. Because he knocked the tree down and went through the glass window into the lounge.
Oh dear.
But hey ho, that's one of those things. So really good about that. My only woe still is Final Fantasy, because it still won't work on my Xbox.
Really?
No, I just did the most unholy of things this afternoon. I've deleted the game save from the console and the cloud of 20.
So you've lost all that progress?
Yeah, because I'm thinking, well, sod it. Let me see if that's a problem. So I've just installed, I'm still installing it as we speak. I'm installing the base game at the moment and started it up, but Not a whisper out of it in the sound.
Yeah, you say, I wonder if, because you're in a preview program as well, aren't you?
Yeah, but we're getting updates all the time, so why would that be a problem, you know?
Well, that's exactly the question that I asked about Forza 7. You know, when I had all of those problems as well.
But it's a waste of a 50 quid game. Do you know what I mean? And I've got all that DLC and bits and pieces that come with it. So I'm just going to leave it downloading, whatever, and we'll see. I'm just debating what to do. I'm sort of at my wit's end with it, to be honest.
Yeah, that's not good, is it?
No, but other than that, a couple of new devices, which we're supposed, if we're doing Tech Talk, what are we going to do? Are we going to do?
Yeah, we'll do Tech Talk.
Okay, yeah. And one of them you're listening to, so hey ho.
Yeah, indeed. Well, hey.
It's a beast.
And I'll talk about my new device.
Yeah.
Which will shed light on the situation.
Yeah, it's bright. It's a bright one, isn't it?
It is.
So, yeah, that's about it, really. Well, move swiftly on, shall we say?
Yep. So, well, my intro for this week. I've been off for a week. Woo-hoo.
Yes, you have.
I have indeed. So, you know, I've been making good use of my time. I've been gaming.
Yeah, you took my gaming score. I'll just give you that little bit of brief moment of 1,000 on a game today, and
yeah. Well, you were top of the leaderboard, weren't you? And I looked and I thought, I can't have this. So, am I about like 1,000 ahead of you now?
I don't know. I did got a couple of achievements this morning for something.
Oh, sneaky achievements, you see.
Yeah.
So just trying to pep it up, weren't you?
Yeah, well, that's with the gaming talk. I'll talk about that, yeah.
Well, looking at the lead, actually, I'm not 1,000 ahead of you. No, I'm 15 off 1,000 ahead of you at the moment.
I'm sure that'll change while I'm working tomorrow.
I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will.
You whore.
But when you're off, I'm sure it'll swap back.
Well, I need another big game to suck me in, I think.
I know. What you want is little games that just give you the score. Anyway, this week then, so I've had a bit of a disaster. We've had a slow leak in the toilet, which is exactly what you want, isn't it? And it's just been a very small drip.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was about to be crude then, and I won't. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, no, it wasn't any. You know, don't take the pee.
Mm-hmm.
But no, and what it's done is it's actually caused water damage, and it's damaged my ceiling below.
Yeah,
so,
I've had that before. The kids have left the bathroom before, and
yeah.
the kitchen plasterboard was sort of bulging with water in it.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is what's really weird is because this has been going on, you know, for a bit, evidently, and we've been walking underneath this and not noticing because it's in a very small sort of like confined area at the bottom of the stairs.
Yeah.
And it's not in a place where, because it's around the corner a little bit, where you naturally look. And because there's like a door and then you turn round a corner, unless you're actually looking up, you don't really notice the ceiling. It's a weird sort of area. Anyway, I went in there and, you know, I looked and I thought, oh no, the plaster's cracked. And our ceilings have got Artex on just about every ceiling. I hate that stuff.
Yeah.
And anyway, so I phoned up my insurance company and I said, oh, you know, can you I want to make a claim because, you know, it's going to be, well, worth my while to do, I think, in terms of how much it's going to cost me to get it fixed. And she said, oh, yeah, well, how old's your house? 25 years old. Oh, well, it might have asbestos in the Artex. I thought, oh, God.
Really?
Really? Because evidently Artex stopped using asbestos in 2000.
Didn't know that. That's interesting.
No, exactly. So we'll have to wait and see, won't we? But anyway,
you see, that's the sort of thing where I probably would have done that myself to a certain degree.
Yeah,
I would have got some plasterboard, cut a section out on the joist, and at least tack that in at the start of it, and then maybe get someone to plaster it. But
well, to be honest, I did consider it, and I thought I can't be bothered. And I just thought I'll do it as a claim and, you know, get it sorted out that way, because that's why you pay home insurance, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's always a sting in the tail sometimes for that.
Well, yeah, because I said that, well, your thing premium will go up.
Mm.
You know, well, can't help that.
Do you know a plasterer at all? Anyone you know that can do it?
No, not really.
Mm.
Not really. I mean, my brother-in-law's, you know, a brickie, and
Well, he might know a plasterer, surely.
well, he probably will. I mean, he does, you know, does do stuff for us. He's a good bloke, but in terms of, you know, that he doesn't really tell us his contacts or anything like that. So, you know, it's just one of them things. And to be honest, I'm not bothered, because I phoned my insurance company and they said, "Oh, we'll arrange for someone to come out. They'll do it. They'll assess the work, and then they'll just do the work for you."
That's all right then.
So I thought, well, to be honest, you can't really beat that. So,
No,
you know,
true.
All I've got to pay is the excess. But that was a real pain in the butt. So that was it. I booked my son's birthday party at a place called Belong, which is in the back of Game. And evidently there's loads of these around. But I'd mentioned it a while ago. In the back of Game at Teesside Park, what they've actually got is sets of PCs for doing LAN parties.
Oh, that's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's like 200 quid for 12 kids for 2 hours.
Yeah. Well, they can play Fortnite.
Well, they can play whatever they like, Fortnite, Rocket League, and they do like little competitions and stuff like that with them. Obviously, they've got all of the equipment there.
So they win prizes and that, can they?
And no, I don't know about prizes, but you know, it's just to get them all, you know, play what they want. They can play basically any game that they like within reason. And obviously, if you're playing Fortnite or whatever, then you've got to, you know, have parental permission for playing it and stuff like that. You know, so we have to give the parents a consent form. But you know, for the price, and they're all using top end equipment as well. I looked at some of the kit and I thought that's really nice.
Yeah,
nice keyboards and stuff like that. So, because I've got my eye on wanting a Chroma keyboard now.
Is that one that glows?
Yeah, but my one glows now.
Oh, does it? Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, mine only glows blue at the moment, but the Chroma one's changed.
Mine's a special one; it doesn't glow. It's just black.
Yeah, I remember those keyboards. I don't do those anymore.
Yeah, it's a plastic Dell one, do you know?
I know the ones, yeah. I mean, even the keyboard on my laptop glows.
Does it? Yeah, not bad.
It does. Glows red. So, but yeah, so 200 quid for a 2-hour gaming LAN party for 12 kids. And they've also got a deal on with Pizza Hut, so you can get, you know, pizzas delivered half price and have them in the place.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so I thought, you know, it makes it a bit special for him, because when we had, you know, like when he went to soft play areas, that was like 150, 200 quid.
Is it with your McDonald's parties and all that?
No, but that included food, to be honest. But,
yeah.
you know, it's going to be about 230, so consequently he's going to get a cheaper present. But he's getting into YouTube. So, you know, he's going through on his mum's YouTube account and doing videos.
Mm.
You know, and at the moment they're all about his Roblox toys. Yeah, so, and he said, "Can you subscribe to me? Can you plug me on the show?" So there you go. I've plugged him on the show.
Bless him.
And thinking about blessed, or blessed.
No pun there. Put that together.
No, but a perfect segue. I'm actually next week going to see Brian Blessed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the day after my birthday, so I'm really looking forward to that, the 12th of April. So I'll tell everybody about it then, I think.
Do you get to ask questions or not? Is that sort of thing where you can?
I think it is that sort of thing. So I'm going to get a few tweets going, you know, just saying going to see him and this, that and the other, because evidently he does monitor his things. You never know, might be able to get a, you know, Brian Blessed intro for the show. Yes. That would be fantastic if we could.
Oh, God.
And yeah, so that's been my week this week.
Cool.
So, shall we move on to our gaming this week?
No longer a dream, but a reality.
So, Steve, do you want to tell us the news?
Okay, so Ghost Recon, I actually heard about this. It's really weird. So Ubisoft have confirmed plans for a second year of content for Ghost Recon Wildlands.
Woohoo.
Not that I've actually completed playing the game yet. I think we should to do.
We need to play it 2-player. I
know, we should do. And the exciting addition that's coming with this is future updates with some kind of appearance by Splinter Cell's Sam Fisher.
Yeah.
Which I think would be pretty cool. And what is even better is that the teaser trailer that's been released that features Fisher speaking, he's heading to Bolivia, which is the settings for Wildlands, of course. And it also references the relationship with the game's Ghost and the squad playable characters. But the bit that I like the most is that it seems that Michael Ironside could be reprising his role as Sam Fisher.
Yeah, after being replaced by Eric Johnson on Blacklist.
Yeah, exactly. And ironically, I was watching one of Michael Ironside's movies this morning while I was doing some paperwork. So, yeah, he's class. I do love him.
Yeah, I love Michael Ironside. He's one of those. He was never a massive star, but he was always one of my favourites.
Yeah, because I'm not that we're doing a movie show at the moment. I mean, I was watching Scanners, which is 1981.
Yeah,
which I think might have been one of his first movies that he did. Obviously, he did Top Gun and other stuff as well. But I just think he's great.
Yeah, I do.
And going to my woes of Final Fantasy, there's more Final Fantasy 15 news. Not that I can play the game, but they've got a total of 4 more episodes are on the way for the game. Which is going to be a bit of a wait, though, because it won't be around until 2019.
I know that.
So do you reckon I might have it fixed by then?
Well, hopefully it'll be working on your Xbox, but don't you think that this is a bit late? Do you know what I mean? Because it's 2019. You'll have moved on from this game so far.
Well, I don't expect there's going to be a Final Fantasy 16 for some time, hence there may be the way they're doing this is to put more content out there. I mean, look at The Division, Destiny, even Ghost Recon, they're going a year or 2 in the game and bringing more content out. So,
yeah,
from that point of view, you're going to get 4 episodes. The first one, The Conflict of the Sage. You've got the beginning of the end and the Choice of Freedom and the Final Strike. So, interesting to wait and see what happens with them. Really, could be pretty good. I don't know. I mean, I might look forward to it if I can play the game.
Yeah,
but yeah. It's a bit disillusioned I am at the moment with Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Maybe I should come play Final Fantasy 7 on the PlayStation instead. At least that works.
Yeah.
So do you want to do new releases?
Yep, I'll do the new releases. So, the way that I'm going to do the charts from now, or the way I've set the charts up now, is because we're looking at doing alternative gaming and film and TV each week. Is to basically give 2 weeks of charts when we do it, so that, and then if we do release it late, then at least we don't have to re-record the charts and stuff like that, so they're just done, because there's not that many released at the moment. We might have to change it when we get into the silly season and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I think to be honest, it might not even bother about the charts, I don't think, but who knows.
Well, maybe not the charts, but the new releases might, I think, are useful for people. So, on the 10th of April, on PS4 and Xbox One, we have Extinction. Then on the 13th, there's 2 games, Darkest Dungeon Ancestral Edition on the Switch, and Galgun 2 on the PS4 and Switch. On the 17th, we've got Yakuza 6, A Song of Life on the PS4. Then on the 20th, there's 3 games released, Don't Starve Mega Pack on the PS4 and Xbox One. There's God of War, which I'm looking forward to, and Wonder Boy, The Dragon Trap. So, and that's PS4 and Switch on there. Charts for this week, we have at number 5, and this is a really unusual chart, and see if anybody picks up on what it is. We'll tell you at the end of the chart. Number 5, PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. Number 4, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Number 3, Sea of Thieves. Number 2, FIFA 18. And number 1, Far Cry 5. So why is that a bit of an unusual chart?
Because we got the beta. Obviously it's not the full game release on Battlegrounds is.
Well, actually, what I was thinking was Sea of Thieves is PC and Xbox, and PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds is. So there's 2 out of the top 5 that are not on PS4.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, that's right.
And I can't remember the last time that happened in the charts.
Well, I suppose we'll see the other games that are being released a little bit later in the coming year as well. We'll make it look like that still as well.
Yeah, most probably. But, we'll see, won't we? Because don't forget, PlayStation have got lots to do, lots of their games as well.
Oh, God, yeah. I'm looking forward to that Detroit Most Human. I'm hoping that it's going to be a corker. But,
yeah.
Some people say it might not be. I don't know. We have to wait and see on that.
Yeah, we will do. Okay, so that's the charts for this week, and it's also the new releases. So, Steve, do you want to tell us what you've been playing this week? Because you've completed a game.
I know, another game, 1,000, and I got 1,000 game score for it.
Woohoo!
So, Life is Strange Before the Storm is now done and dusted and deleted off my hard drive.
Right.
So, 1,000 game score out of that. So I collected, if you remember the first Life is Strange.
Yeah.
You had the photographs that Max took with a camera.
Yeah, which you invariably had to go back and do because you'd missed some. Yeah,
exactly. So in this case, for Chloe, you have to do graffiti.
Yes, you do.
And so I did go back once I completed the game, and there's so much I'd actually cleared in some of the levels, but it's a great idea that you can tidy them up that way and don't have to play the whole game again.
Yeah, I like that as well.
It's a good story. I mean, people might not remember sort of Chloe Price being the second lead with Max, because she was the rebel as such, don't you think? A really interesting story. I won't say what it's to do with, because if anyone still wants to play it,
Well, I'm still playing it, to be quite honest.
Yeah. So the outcome will tidy up a few things that you do know about, and it will put that into perspective.
Yeah.
The bonus episode was pretty good, which was Chloe and Max as kids.
Yeah.
Just a short one, really.
Yeah, because weren't they supposed to be friends?
They've been friends since kids.
Yes.
So
that's what I thought.
It's sort of for life, isn't it?
It is.
So that's that game. So one of your favourite games, I decided to go on the Game Pass and download something.
And I was gutted that we couldn't play this 2-player because it's only local player.
Yeah. So Skyforce Anniversary Edition.
Yeah.
I don't think there's much more I can say that's already been said, but I think it's still a cracking game.
Yeah.
And I've played it on the PlayStation. On the Xbox, it looks. I mean, they probably don't look much different, to be honest.
I don't think they look any different, to be honest.
But I am playing it differently as compared to when I played it on the PlayStation, because I'm trying to grind the first 2 or 3 levels just to build my ship up.
I wouldn't do that. What I would do is keep going through the campaign, because the later levels you get more rewards. Yeah,
I've opened up level 4 at the moment.
Yeah.
Level 1, I've completed all the first. What would you call them? The objectives?
Yeah.
The stars you get?
Yeah.
But, it's funny because when I was talking to you last night, what was that, 1 o'clock in the morning?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. So I said, you went night, so I said, well, just go one more level.
Were you there about an hour later?
Well, I thought, I'm going to turn it off now. And I just thought, what am I going to have a quick look at before I go to bed? So I was scrolling through the games installed, which is quite a few.
Yeah.
And I saw Geordie LaForge staring at me on Star Trek Online because they've changed the cover.
Yes, they have.
Because if everyone doesn't really realise, this game has had a shedload of updates over the last year. There's now 125 episodes built into the story. So I flicked it on. I forgot where I was, but it told me my objectives. I've got the original I've got the original Enterprise as my ship.
Yeah.
And we're all wearing the Kirk outfits. So it's all vintage Star Trek for me.
Very good.
And I went and had a few battles with some Klingons, trying to scan some of these arrays by these planets. Mm-hmm. And I had a good bit of fun. And I didn't realise it was 2:15 in the morning. So I thought I'd better go to bed.
Yeah, because otherwise you end up, and you feel like the Night of the Living Dead, don't you?
Oh God, yeah. But you know, I really had a good time playing that, and I only did an hour.
Yeah.
But this game is a free-to-play game, 100%.
Aren't you ceilinged on your level, though?
No.
I thought you were.
From when I was just doing a bit of research for the game. I was just reading it, and you can access the whole game through playing the game. Obviously, you've got some packages you can buy for coins and stuff like that. Mm. So if you want to buy some ships or different bits of kit, you can go ahead, but it'll take a while to get that, to do it yourself. Do you know what I mean? Yeah,
I know what you mean.
They're going to add Discovery into this as well.
That'll be interesting.
They've obviously introduced the J.J. Abrams timeline. Yeah. So when you go online, if you go in PvP, you're going to see some ships from all over the Star Trek universe.
That is. I wonder how they'll integrate those.
Well, I think you'll be able to just purchase the ships and the costumes
as an also design.
Yeah, that's the difference. I mean, I'm still rocking the TOS for myself at the minute.
And why not?
It's class. I forgot how to play the game a bit because I was trying to. Where's my phasers? How do I fire my photon torpedoes? Mm. But I did it and I didn't die, so I sort of took all the Klingons. And what is great with this game is you actually do get to beam down on the planet. So you got the characters there. You're running around with your phasers, shooting everyone. Yeah, doing your objectives, and it is a PC game, so don't expect a lot out of it. But it does look cool. Mm. And I don't think you've even touched this for a while, have you? Or have you actually?
To be honest, no, I haven't touched it for absolutely ages because I think I'd started playing it when I was living at my mum's.
Right.
My dad died, and her internet was about 15 megabits, and it was just sort of like, oh God, this is a bit painful. So I just gave up on it, sort of thing.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, and I've never gone back to it. But to be honest, I've so many games I want to play.
Yeah, I just wanted a Star Trek scratch to be itched, if you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
Because there isn't a lot. The games that are out there's nothing else really that's available.
When you look at two of the biggest franchises in TV and cinema history, Star Wars and Star Trek, and their record for games is more or less abysmal.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot of the games are really, really very poor. I mean, the Star Trek 2009 game, it was released.
The one with J.J. Abrams' universe, yeah?
Yeah. It looked fantastic, but it wasn't a good game.
Bag of poo, wasn't
it? I wouldn't say that. It was below average. But, you know, I think you really had to like Star Trek to play it.
Yeah, but I think, do you know what?
But I did complete it.
It's interesting to say that Star Trek Online has been going for a number of years now. Mm. And it's got a lot of awards for what it's been doing. I think it's even in the Guinness Book of Records.
Yeah.
As well.
Well, I remember when, just before this got released, because I went to EGX when it was on the Thames, and it was the year before that this was released, or the year that this was released. Mm. You know, so it's that, what's that? Well over 10 years ago now.
Yeah, I mean,
it's been going for quite a while.
What's great, it's still bringing content out now, and it's still going to carry on bringing content out.
Well, why not? I mean, now that, you know, we've got the new part of the universe and the films.
Yeah.
Because evidently there's 4 or 5 scripts going around for the next Star Trek movie.
Yeah, and do you know, did you, just going on podcast, have you heard about the Star Trek podcast, the official one?
No.
It's closing down.
I'm not surprised. It was pretty dire.
It's a shame, though, because it was obviously backed by CBS and whoever, you know.
Yeah, the problem was, though, that the guy was quite... I didn't take to him.
Oh, Jordan Hoffman. Yeah, I know. It's difficult, isn't it? You've got a lot of weight on your shoulders with a show like that.
You have. but I don't know. It seemed to be more trying to sell stuff. Every time I listen, they always say it'd be an advert.
No, I've listened to a big bulk of them. I mean, they did the Star Trek cruise, which he was on, and they did record some of that, and they had a lot of interviews with members of the cast over the years, from over the years as well. So
yeah, I mean, it's a shame, but I think something like that needs to be done, backed professionally, but done by proper fans.
Yeah, sorry about my squeaking chair if you can hear it.
So everything that you do now, we can hear.
I know, until I can get one of those condoms to go over the top of it.
Yeah, but I'm going to have to. I'm going to have to edit it all out, so people be going, well, I can't hear the chair. No, that's because I'll have removed it.
Yeah. No, I'll look into getting some of those, but yeah, well, I digress. So anyway, that's my gaming really, a bit brief, but
Yeah.
So how about you?
Well, I mean, I've done loads of gaming, just on a few games though. So I'll start off with Far Cry 5 because I talked about Far Cry 5 on the last show. We recorded an extra bit and put that in so that you had the thoughts. It might
have seemed a bit disjointed, but we just did what we did, didn't we? So
yeah, we did, because we did it over 2 weeks, sort of thing. Anyway, now I'm over 30 hours in.
Okay.
On the game. So, plenty of staying power in this. Still really enjoying it. I've gone into the arcade mode and the numerous different types of that, from, like team-based games and, with PvP, to single and team survival games as well. There are also lots of other, quests such as, survival, where you've got to get to the end of a map, or just ones for, killing so many, attackers or whatever. There's loads of different things, and there's loads of community content that's being created as well. So, there's plenty of legs on that. And if you're an achievement hunter, then there are achievements linked to that as well, I will say. In terms of the rest of it, there are a number of Easter eggs that are based in this game, which you might completely miss if you don't know to look for them. So there are references of different things from Far Cry series. So there's like bobbleheads for Vass and other characters. There's primal paintings as well, so as in linking in with the primal game, and also even down to Blood Dragon. So, Blood Dragon was the Far Cry game that was based on like 80s movies. And there's a side quest for that as well. And there's also some of the outfits as well reference other games. So you can, if you've played Rainbow Six Siege, you can go onto the Ubisoft, actually it's not a store, but you know what I mean, the Ubisoft area that you get with every Ubisoft game.
Oh, you're on about where you can spend the points you can get, yeah?
That's right, yeah. And you can, and if you've played Rainbow Six Siege, it'll give you a free Rainbow Six Siege costume to put on as well. And of course, that translates over into the multiplayer as well. Yeah,
because funny you should say it, because not that I was going to talk much about it because I've not really done, but I was on Ghost Recon Wildlands.
Yeah,
and I've got the old Ghost Recon from the Xbox 360 days as my kit.
All right, yeah.
So I've got all the goggles and everything on. It's pretty cool,
Oh, very cool. Yeah. So some other ones, Pennywise.
Yeah, what's all that about?
Yeah, there's areas where there are red balloons, which I think was his signature thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, do you have to pop them or something in?
No, you just, like one of the areas, it's a cache that is in the game was actually one of the more, well, I found one of the more difficult ways, things to get in, but I was just being thick, to be quite honest with you.
No comment.
Because I just completely missed one of the entrances, which was pretty plain to see if you'd have stopped for a second, and I didn't. I actually ended up completing that level by reversing a truck up to a window and climbing up. But if it had gone round the back of the building, there was actually a way in. But hey, that's the game though, isn't it? And when you get into that cache, you press a message on an answer phone and there's Pennywise doing a laugh. And then there's other Pennywise references in there as well. There's also the Firewatch Tower as well that's in there, and you can hear the talk linking into that game, which I thought was quite a nice touch. And then the other thing, and this is kind of like one that a lot of people started complaining about Far Cry 5.
Yeah.
And I think that this is ridiculous because some people, when they got it, complained that they'd completed the game in about half an hour. Well, really? Less than that. And that's because, you found the secret ending, which isn't the way you're supposed to play the game, because the secret ending is you can access it by, near the beginning, you have to cuff the big bad guy. And if you don't cuff him and you leave it and you keep leaving it for ages, that's when you get the secret ending.
It's a bit bizarre though, isn't it, really?
It is, but some people were doing that. And to be honest, I started doing that. And I gave up on it because I kept saying, put the cuffs on him. Come on, put the cuffs on him. And I just stopped it because I watched a video on someone else doing it, and I just stopped it probably seconds before the dialogue started to change because I thought, I'm sure that there must be something here. What if you don't put the cuffs on? And that's the secret ending. But that's not a spoiler, to be honest, because there's loads of videos about it, but also it's not the way to play the game. The way to play the game is to cuff the guy, otherwise the game will end straight away. So some people were complaining that they hadn't had the money's worth out of it without like rebooting it and then, playing it properly. But you know what people are like. So, that's that. But yeah, over 30 hours into the game, still got loads and loads on the map to do. Absolutely loads.
See, I keep thinking to myself that I shouldn't really play this shit. I really should concentrate on Ghost Recon Wildlands, because if I start dipping into that, I'll never get the other one done, Yeah.
I would complete one before you start on the other.
We should.
Well, I should say that about so many games.
Yeah.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, but I'm still really enjoying this game. I know that some people haven't enjoyed it, and if it's not for you, it's not for you. But for me, I've never been into the Far Cry series, particularly since Far Cry 2.
Yeah.
So being back into it, it's quite nice. Quite a nice place to be. Second game, I'm building up. My second game's Batman Enemy Within. So this is the latest in the Telltale series of games, and is the sequel to the Batman Telltale game.
Okay.
And it's based on the Bob Kane and Bill Fingers version of Batman, for those of you who are Batman aficionados out there. As with other Telltale games, it's the usual episodic format, but the last episode is just released. So if you want to play it all in one go, now is the time to do it.
Which format are you playing this on?
Xbox, but to be honest, it's a Telltale game. It's the same on whatever you play it.
Okay, no, I didn't know this game was out, to be honest.
Yeah, it's been out for months. Like I said, the latest version is the last episode has just been released.
Oh, okay. I'll have to have a... While you're chatting here, I'll just have a...
I don't think it's too much either. I don't think it's full price. But anyway, what I really like about this version of the game is that all of your choices carry over to the next, over from the previous game. So, any choices that you made if you played the original Telltale Batman game, it loads a save file.
Okay.
Gameplay-wise, basically, it's exactly the same as the previous Batman. But you don't pay for the gameplay in these games. It's all about the story rather than the gameplay, because let's face it, Telltale games are not really games, they're interactive stories.
Well, yeah, that's right, because the ironic thing is that where I've been playing that Life is Strange, that's more interactive than Batman is, or any of those Telltale games, isn't it, do you think?
It is. To be honest, I think Telltale need to go down the same route as PlayStation have with Hidden Agenda and that sort of stuff. But anyway, so the story of the Telltale Batman is after he defeated the Children of Arkham, Batman continues to, and that was in the last game, Batman continues to
Thanks for that, I haven't finished it yet.
Well, that is if you complete it.
I will do. No, I will. No, I will do. I will.
Yeah. Well, don't forget as well, because also the game, whether or not, whatever you've done, you can actually go by default settings. So that does base it on your previous game. So you might not defeat. I don't know if that's an option or not. But,
no, well, okay, interesting. Yeah, okay.
But for me, after I defeated as Batman, because I'm Batman, after I defeated the Children of Arkham, Batman continues to patrol while slowly regaining his reputation as Bruce Wayne, because it was revealed in the last game that Bruce Wayne's father associated with criminals and was part of the criminal underworld. So while targeting an arms dealer at his casino, Batman sees the return of the Riddler, and the first of Gotham's costume criminals, evidently. So Batman, with the help of Commissioner Gordon, failed to capture the Riddler, and the case is taken off the GCPD by the agency, who take over the investigation of the Riddler, and Batman and Gordon continue to investigate it, and that's basically the start of the story. So obviously there are 5 chapters in this, the same as any other Telltale game. Each one is between an hour and 2 hours long. So I would say probably average completion time of a Telltale game is about 8 to 10 hours. Not when you look at like the websites and say, oh, you'll have this done in 5 hours. Well, you might do if there was a skip button for the dialogue, but there isn't. So that real time, that's probably about how long it's going to take you to do.
Yeah, Batman ain't cheap on the Xbox at the moment, though, to be honest.
Is it? Because I picked it up for a tenner.
It's not, well, if you want to buy the bundle, both together, it's 35 quid.
At the moment, but keep watching it, because that'll come down in price very shortly. Because it's already been in the sale as a tenner, because that's when I picked it up. Yeah. So I do like the Telltale games, though, because I like the stories that they do.
Yeah, because there's going to be another Walking Dead as well, isn't there?
Yes, the final season. I'll say, yeah. Which I think is a shame, because I would like to see them do more of them. I quite enjoy the story Clementine. Yeah, no, that I think that's what really put Telltale on the map, to be honest. Yeah, first off, it was Back to the Future, but then they hit on The Walking Dead and have just gone from strength to strength. I think that there's also supposed to be another Guardians of the Galaxy as well. Yeah, I couldn't get on with that one. See, I liked it. I really liked it. Matter of fact, I completed it on Xbox and PS4. Yeah. But, you like what you like, don't you? Yeah, you do. So talking about you like what you like, well, yeah, my last game... Before you start, I've actually looked at this and started it. Yeah. But I'll let you talk about it. But I had about 15 minutes on it. Okay. Then turned it off. The Witness. So this has been one of those games that I would have played originally had it been the normal indie kind of game price of 15, 16 quid. But as it turned out, it was the, £35 or something like that, I think it was, when it was released. Wow. And that just stopped me from buying it, because while I'm a big supporter of indie developers, or I've seemed to have gone that way. For the achievements, that is. Carry on. Are you getting your little green-eyed monster out again? Go on, carry on. You're playing your leg. Go on, crack on. So, seeing as I'm a big supporter of them, but to be honest, because they are indie games, And something like this, it doesn't take the big budgets that...
no, it's like you're spending too much money. You think they should be low price, shouldn't you?
Yeah, well, you can't, to me, there is not the development in this game that there was in Assassin's Creed Origins.
Mm.
And I would be looking to buy Assassin's Creed Origins for about £35.
Yeah.
And let's face it, when you buy them in the first couple of weeks, you can normally get them about £35 as well if you shop around.
Yeah, true.
So, to me, it was way overpriced. And so that stopped me from playing it. So I was really happy when this came onto Gold this time. Basically, this was a puzzle game that was originally released on a PC and PS4, and then it was later transferred over to the Xbox. But it's also on the Nvidia Shield. We don't often talk about that on here.
No.
I don't think we actually have talked about that on here so far. It's also on macOS and it's on iOS, so it's gone all over. And I can imagine this would actually be quite a good game on iOS to play, as long as you're not paying 35 quid for it.
Yeah, that's a bit steep, isn't it, to be honest?
It is. So it was inspired by Myst, and it was done by, or designed by Jonathan Blow, who created Braid. Now, I never really liked Braid very much, I have to admit. I know that some people think it was marvellous, but I didn't get on with that game. But anyway, The Witness is a shell-shaded exploration and puzzle game. So you're on an island and there are several different areas, like there's a town, there's a quarry, there's tree houses, there's all these different sort of areas, and each one has a number of different puzzles inside as well. The game is very clever in its puzzles, such as some of the objectives are to recreate Tetris shapes, and then there are other ones where you have to recreate the Tetris shape, but then subtract another Tetris shape from it and things like that. And all of this is done by having a grid of however many squares across and however many down, and you trace an outline over all of those, over the lines where you want to draw, going from point A to point B. And that's basically how the whole game works. I'm simplifying it a little bit because there are other things where there are other rules. There's some very clever stuff in one of the areas where, when you look at, like for example, there are some puzzles where you have to separate off different boxes of, with lights on. So for example, there's some puzzles where there'll be white and black squares, and a white and black square can't be in an area when you've drawn from A to B. So you have to draw around, either the white or the black and separate them off. Some of the, some symbols come up and they'll be, they'll subtract something from what's there. So for example, it might be a pairing level where you've got to have everything paired up, but there'll be 3 of one colour and one of these little symbols. And then what that will do is you can put 3 in that one area with that symbol, and it'll take away the one that's the odd one out. So there's all sorts of very clever mechanics like this. There's another level where you track the route across the puzzle by looking through the shades of leaves as it lands on the checkerboard and things like that. So there's so many different sort of combinations. And
is it overrun with puzzles too much, or how did you find it? Because I went into the first area and solved the puzzles, and I just thought this is just a walking simulator to look for a puzzle and then move on.
Yeah.
It's...
To be honest, that's exactly what it is. You walk from puzzle to puzzle and then you just carry on doing more.
Yeah.
And in terms of what it was trying to tell me, I don't, other than getting to the centre and, finishing it, I don't really see what it was trying to do. There are some ones that aren't linked with the rest of, like the achievements or completing the game, which are environmental puzzles that you can do as well. Mm-hmm. So, there's some bits where you look at the reflection of something in the water, and then that makes from a certain angle, then that makes an environmental puzzle that you can solve, but there's no recognition for that in terms of the game for achievements or for needing to do that to progress through the rest of the game.
Yeah.
And obviously, the further that you progress, the puzzles increasingly get harder and harder. So my main problem with this game is that this game feels like it's the developers just trying to say something, and also saying, look at how good and clever we are for making this and how thick you are for not being able to do this puzzle. Do you know what I mean? I kind of felt that when I was playing it, and I know that some people rave about this game, but while I completed it, it wasn't, it wasn't a bad experience.
Did you get a kick out of playing it or not then?
No, I kind of, because where I got to was, I would start doing a set of puzzles and I'd get so far and then I'd get stuck. And then I'd go, I'll wander over here and I'll go and have a look at something. And then I went out of that area, went into another area, then started on that area. And I just kept doing it all piecemeal like this. So, in the end, I would get a couple of puzzles a couple of levels where I would pop them pretty much, very quickly. But that was more because I'd done 18 on one and, 17 puzzles on another. And then I'd just gone back to them later on and finished off a couple of levels. That was just the way, because you can do that in this game.
Yeah.
But there are so many puzzles. The whole game is about completing the puzzles to initiate these lasers that then go at the centre of the mountain. And when you've got 11 lasers hitting the centre of the mountain, you go up to the top of the mountain and then you go into the mountain, do some more puzzles, and then you escape.
Yeah. Was it a letdown when you got to the end of the game?
Yeah, to be honest. I just, after all of the hype, after everybody saying, you have to play this is the best game ever, and all of that sort of thing, and, Jonathan Blow, isn't he absolutely fantastic? No, I'm sorry. I've played a lot of puzzle games. I like puzzle games. But this one, I just felt it was trying to be a little bit too clever for its own good.
I mean, when I think of puzzle games, for me, the ultimate puzzle game is Portal.
No, this is completely different.
No, but as in puzzle games go, I mean, this is nothing like Portal, but do you know what I mean? What I'm saying is, that sort of game, I got a big kick out of Portal, and even to the end, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where, from my own brief period of time playing this, it's just moved from puzzle to puzzle, but there's no story, is there?
Well, no, other than you're progressing through all of these different areas.
Yeah.
I think that, I've certainly played better environmental puzzle games. I don't see why people made such a fuss of it. The game's all right. If it had been...
Looks nice, isn't it? I must admit.
Oh, it looks nice. If it had been like £10 or £15 right from the off, I could have imagined that would have been okay. But I think to charge £35 originally for this game, he might as well have, put a cowl over his face, got a gun and said stand and deliver. Because I just don't think it was worth that amount of money. If you do, fill your boots, that's great for you. But for me, I'm really glad I didn't pay for it. But I am glad that I did get through it. But I must admit, by the end of it, you're really starting to think, oh, God, I just want this to end.
So it's getting to be a chore then, by
It was, because my brain was hurting at that point as well, because you're sorting out, the puzzles do get really quite hard. And there's one later on where the TV that the puzzle is showing on is not tuned properly. And so it's like, how you used to get old TVs where they used to be misaligned. So you'd get the picture, about a quarter of the way across and a quarter of the way up. And then it'd wrap round on itself and come back. Do you remember pictures like that? You'd see that on old videotapes and things like that as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you get that kind of effect, but what you have to do when you're doing the puzzle is still treat it as if the starting point is relatively in the right position. And then there's another one where every time you move to the right, and bear in mind that you're going left to right across the screen in one way or another to get to the end, it starts to scroll round faster and faster and faster as if it's, losing its tuning. Yeah. So it's a real pain in the backside because it kind of gets to your eyes, to be honest. So, yeah, that's it. It's a reasonable game. It's not what everybody was hyping it up over. It's a good addition to Gold.
Oh, yeah.
But, like I said, thank God I didn't pay 35 quid for this originally. And that's unusual for me because normally I would have, but there was something that just told me this is going to go Games with Gold or Plus. Well, Plus I think originally, but yeah. So anyway, that's so anybody who's like this game, please don't get me wrong. Gaming's like everything else. It's personal opinion. For me, I was quite disappointed in this after all of the hype. So that's it. Anything else to add on games, Steve?
No, not really. All good.
All good. Right, okay. In that case, then, we'll go on to movies, TV, and streaming.
In quest of a better life.
So, movies, TV, and streaming. Because of the way that we're slightly changing the show, we're not going to talk about our movies, TVs, and whatever we've been watching this week, but we'll just do a quick rundown of the charts and the new releases. So, new releases for the cinema. This is for a 2-week period from the 11th till the 20th. So, on April the 11th, we have Rampage. Now, this film looks really quite good. This is the new one with The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, on there based on the video games. 12th of April, we have You, Me and Him. 13th of April, we have The Titan and Truth or Dare. On the 20th of April, we have Every Day, Wildling, The Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society. Sounds interesting. And The Leisure Seeker as well. So that's for the next 2 weeks. In terms of DVD and Blu-ray releases, for the next couple of weeks, there's not really that much coming out other than, of course, the very big one for Disney, which will be Star Wars Episode 8 is actually released tomorrow. So that's the 9th of April. So if you weren't already aware, that's out on Blu-ray, 3D Blu-ray and 4K Blu-ray and DVD. There's also a couple of special versions of this with the First Order sleeve and the Resistance sleeve as well on the Blu-ray. There is also, maybe of interest to some, the Avengers Series 1 Episode 20 Tunnel of Fear DVD, so that might be of interest to anybody who's a big Avengers fan. April the 16th, there is, in terms of DVDs, a release of Persona 3 Movie 2. So this is, I believe, linked directly to the video game that Steve's been playing, so that might be of interest as well if you're a big Persona fan. Cinema chart wise, we have at number 5 Black Panther. At number 4 we have Blockers. Number 3 we have Isle of Dogs. Number 2, now this is strange, we have Ready Player One. I was expecting that to be higher. And at number 1, seriously, we have Peter Rabbit. You can tell that it's Easter, can't you? That's all that I can say to that. Okay, so that's it for movies, TV and streaming, and we'll now go on to Tech Talk.
From the laboratories of...
Okay, so we've got a few things to talk about with Tech Talk today. Steve, do you want to go first because you've had the exciting new things?
Okay, so yours isn't. Okay, so obviously I picked up a Yeti the other day.
Yay!
And they're big, they're huge.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
But I suppose for what they are and the price, I suppose fair enough, really.
Yeah. So Yeti's the mic that we record with.
And I got a blue one.
Yeah, I want a blue one. I like the look of yours better than my boring silver one.
But But it does look nice. But I say the proof will be in the pudding over the next couple of shows when we tweak it.
Yeah, it will. So that's why if you notice Steve's audio quality is different, it's because he's using his Yeti mic.
Because you can hear the creaking in my chair as well, probably. But
yeah, all of the stuff he thought he could get away with on his old mic, he can't do that with one of these mics.
Yeah,
You've got to be as quiet as a mouse.
Watching football and watching a movie at the same time, or whatever I'll be doing,
Yeah.
So the other thing I picked up is I've upgraded my phone.
Okay. And what have you got?
So I've gone from a Galaxy S7 to what some people think isn't a good phone. So I've heard, but I will disagree with that. So I've gone for the Galaxy 9 Plus.
Okay.
And I'm pretty impressed with it, to be honest. It's got an impressive low light camera, which works really well.
Yeah, because that's where a lot of phones let you down, isn't it? It's low light.
They do, yeah. That comes with the dual lens as well. The sound from the phone itself, it's got 2 stereo speakers and Dolby Atmos.
So does that work through the headphones that go onto it? Or?
I've not tried that because I need to, obviously, to have something, you've got to have some sound that's true Dolby Atmos on the file that you're playing back.
Yeah. But
just, let's say, for example, I'm playing Star Wars, as an example, on the phone.
Yeah.
The sound sounds so much better with it turned on.
I can imagine.
And with the stereo speakers, it just gives that aura of sounds. It's more life. There's even a bass to it, which you can feel on the back of the phone. And so with a 6.2 inch screen, watching movies is a treat, to be honest.
Because you do a lot of that during your breaks at work, don't you?
Yeah, I've got a handful, but I had a 65 gig memory card in here, but now the phone's 125.
So you've got 180 odd gig of storage on it.
Yeah, and
it certainly makes my iPhone 7 Plus's 32 gig look a bit
weak. But it's a lovely phone. The glass screen looks really clear. Looking at some high quality videos, it's very impressive. As you've probably seen from the adverts, there's some nice little tweaks you can do with the camera for slow-mo and things like that.
Yeah.
I haven't really tried it yet out because I normally, that sort of thing I like to try with the dog. Just, if you're jumping in the air, do some slow-mo shots, try it out.
Yeah.
But due to weather, we haven't been out a lot lately, to be honest.
Yeah, it's not really been that sort of weather, has it?
No, but overall I'm really impressed with it. I've got a good cover for it to look after it. It's not as thin as you think, but with the weight of with the case on, the weight feels about right. And I'm just really impressed. Also, your lock screen, you have to unlock it. You've got facial recognition, fingerprint, and your passcode. And
do you have to do all three?
No, you can use either or.
Right.
So just holding the phone on the back, and what they did is the fingerprint scanner's just below the camera. So imagine you with your forefinger under the phone, you just touch the pad, and it's on. Comes on straight away. You don't have to swipe your finger over it.
Well, a bit like the iPhone then.
Yeah, just touch it.
Other than the fact that you press down the button.
No, you don't even press. It's just a flat piece of the the decor on the back.
Yeah.
Just touch it and it comes to life. And if you hold it right with your facial recognition, same thing with that.
Out of curiosity, does facial recognition work on photographs? Have you tried that?
In what way?
By holding a photograph of yourself in front of the camera.
And it says, "Hello, Steve."
Yeah.
It doesn't come up with any sort of connected, or the Xbox does. You know what I mean? It just
the Kinect and the Xbox could sense the 3 dimensions. What I'm getting at is, does this camera sense 3 dimensions, or does it look at everything quite flat? Because in theory, if you're locking your phone with your face, anybody could unlock your phone by showing them a picture of you.
When it locks when you've timed out.
Yeah.
Or if you press on the right hand side of the phone, you press the button there. That's locked.
Yeah.
And then when I look at the phone, it just springs back to life.
Yeah.
But it's probably been a bit confused because I'm wearing headphones at the moment, so it might not like that. But just touch it with my finger.
Right.
It's great. Works well.
And is it one of these ones with a wraparound screen?
Yes, it's got a slight edge to it, but not a great deal.
Yeah.
The other one they did a couple of phones back, which probably actually weren't. It's probably the 8, but the bevel has got the screen all the way around it. If you know what I mean. But that's fine. It doesn't deter at all from it.
I never really could understand the point in that, to be honest.
But what I'm looking at is I'm looking at the whole screen of the phone. It's the picture. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the buttons that I used to have on my phone are now touch sensitive bits at the bottom.
Yeah.
And what you can do is if I bring up my music, for example, they disappear. So if I slide my finger from the bottom and go up, then they reappear for me to use those to take away what I'm looking at or to close all the apps down or whatever I'm working with.
Right.
So yeah, really, really chuffed with it. I mean, I was deciding whether to go with a Note, and someone we know would probably disagree with me and say the Note should be better. But looking at the spec, this is a touch better, but there's not much in it.
I have to admit, if I was going to go Android, I think I would have gone with the Note.
Yeah, it depends what you're going to use it for.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm certainly not. I'm going to use my documentation probably to keep a bit of work stuff on it because it's much easier to read. But other than that, it's just purely entertainment, and it works well. As much as making phone calls as well, should we say? Which is what a phone's for.
Do you know? I have to admit, actually, you just saying that has reminded me. I am getting old as well, because this week I picked up my set of glasses, or rather 2 sets of glasses I should say, because I have to have one for near and one for medium distance, so one for using a computer and one for reading. And because we're on about, you can have varifocals, but I don't need them to drive,
right?
Because my long distance sight's perfect. It's just my near and very close distance.
Yeah.
So I tried to solve it without going to glasses by buying an iPhone 7 Plus.
Yeah.
So it had a bigger screen. Didn't work.
Yeah. I tell you what, I've got a copy of The Shining on my phone at the moment.
Yeah.
You won't say why, but
well, I know why.
Yeah. But it looks incredible, and that's a 720p movie on here.
Wow.
But the actual, there's a few tweaks you can do that are not default with the phone.
Yeah.
You can get your 4K screen up on it, on your pictures and stuff like that.
All right, okay.
So you can really, the photographs you can take are pretty cool. As much as there's a lot to select with how you're going to take a camera shot, even for the professional type, if you bring that along your level, the tweaks that you can do to do what you want with it.
Yeah.
But us being bog standard, we will use probably the basics. But then again, it's still there's some lovely shots you can take. But
why is it every time I always look at somebody else's, phone, even when they're not as good as the iPhones, that I always think that camera looks better than the iPhone's one?
Well, researching it, this camera's the best camera available now on phones.
Right.
And that night shots, I was just sitting there playing with the phone, and the dog was running around on the carpet. I just put my phone up to it.
Yeah.
It's pretty dark in here. We just got one light in the corner, but it just lit the whole room up.
Cool.
Nearly as good as daylight.
Yeah.
But yeah, really chuffed with that.
Yeah, I have to admit, I've never got on with Android as an operating system.
Yeah, we're up to what are we on now? I think we're on Oreo at the moment.
Yeah.
So I just had an update the other night, actually. So
I've never got on with it. I prefer. It seems to me you always fall into one or two camps. Either you want the ability to just use your phone and have the apps, or you want to tinker about with your phone. And if you want to tinker about more, you go more Android-y kind of direction.
Yeah, there's some lovely little tweaks with Facebook, and even when messages come up when the phone's dead and then it's just dark, there's a little light goes all the way around the edge of the phone.
Yeah.
The whole perimeter of it, and just lights up and glows. So it's just, little tweaks you can do. Even the phone, even your time and date on there. I've changed that from a digital clock to a face clock.
Yeah.
And it's completely black. You can then tweak the colour of the hands on it as well.
Yeah.
So it's all, we like to muck around with stuff like that.
Yeah. I have to admit, in terms of a phone, that's not what I want out of it. I just want it to do what I want it to do, which is basically
ring,
do my emails, do a phone call. Well, actually, no, to be honest, doing a phone call is like a bit of an optional extra to my phone. Surf the internet, look at Facebook, look at Twitter, and play Audible and music. That's what I want out of a phone. And to make phone calls. Yeah, no, I mean, I do like my music on the streaming service, so yeah,
that works well.
Yeah. I must admit, sometimes I do watch Netflix on my phone.
I'm actually going to put this back on here, actually. I've got it on at the moment.
Yeah. Well, you need to be catching up on your iZombie.
Well, that, and then Lost in Space starts soon as well.
Yes, 13th.
So I
thought you said that was, heathenistic.
It is. But I'm still going to probably download the first episode onto my phone.
Yeah.
And watch it.
Do you think that this might be your version of me with Discovery?
Yes, it is. And I'm not going to go into our little argument the other day about Lost in Space.
Yeah, needless to say, I was right.
You was wrong.
I was right. I showed photographic evidence.
Yeah, but that's saying he was on it. It's not saying he was the main show star.
I said he was on it. I didn't say he was on it as the main star, although the main star, Robbie the Robot, was heavily based on him.
He's not heavily based on him. He's completely different.
The body's exactly the same. The only difference is the legs, the head, and the arms.
No, they're bigger. We'll discuss this later because I will get into a stupor again, and I've got a glass of wine here as well.
Yeah, you were getting very grumpy.
Anyway, should we move on, yeah?
Well, shall I talk about my...
yeah, sorry, I forgot about your... yes, go right ahead.
Mine.
I'm intrigued.
My product is... What's the one thing that you buy as a tech lover when you can't think of anything else to buy? Well, if I give you a scenario of, we've all done it, middle of the night, it's dark, the family's asleep, you need the loo. If you switch the light on, you might wake people up.
Because the fan turns on as well.
Yeah, and all of that. Well, I've got the perfect solution for you if you want to nip out and have a pee in the middle of the night. Get a LAN 2 toilet light.
You're going to have to send me some snapshots of this.
I will do. So, preferably not with anything floating in the bowl. But basically, I think it's one of those things that you do buy when you're running out of gadgets. So what it is it's a motion-activated, light-sensitive light for your toilet bowl, okay?
I can't imagine how this has got to be installed.
Dead easy. Basically,
is it wrapped around the toilet duct?
Yeah. Well, you know the way that you get those things that wrap around the edge, and then when you flush it, puts in the chemicals into the water.
It clips around the bowl, but then when you got the toilet, the first toilet part of the seat down, you don't see the clip, do you?
Yeah, well, the way that this works is you do see the gadget from the outside because it works in exactly the same way. It just clips onto your toilet. It's got an adjustable arm, and basically there's a gadget on the outside, which is where most of the technical word, the gubbins of that is, and it's got a PIR sensor, so it detects motion, and what it does is when it detects you walking to the toilet, it switches a light on in the bowl. So this arm goes over to clip it onto the side of your bowl, and then it has a LED light on.
I'm surprised it's not linked to Alexa.
Probably is, but I'll probably be able to get an Alexa version. So, as you're walking up, the light comes on, then you lift the toilet seat, and it does it a nice little wash of different colours. So, it's a LED changing light as well.
Yeah. How much was it, by the way?
$5.99.
You got to send me the link.
I'll send you the link.
I want to set that up without the missus knowing and see if it sees it.
Right. I'll tell you what, it's really good because the other thing as well is it's actually got a UV sterilizer in it as well. So the way to to sell this to the missus is that the UVC light kills 99.9% of mold, bacteria, germs, and viruses
in the bowl. Sold.
Yeah, brilliant thing. It fits any toilet. It's a flexible 180-degree bending arm that attaches to the shape of your bowl. It's run on batteries, 3 AAA batteries. It's waterproof against accidental splashing, or when you get a bit inebriated and you miss the ball from any direction. So it's quite durable, and like I said, it's battery powered. But yeah, and to be honest, it does actually, the light, it looks actually quite nice in the bowl.
I'd like a sort of blue type.
It does it in various different colours. The one that I've got, it just nicely shades its way through. But it's such a simple... To be honest, when I saw it, I showed my wife and I said, "What do you think about this?" She said, "For God's sake, will you stop buying stupid things?"
I've got one here. I'm on Amazon, right? And this one here, it's called the rechargeable toilet nightlight. I
wouldn't like to think how you actually recharge it.
And I'm looking at the toilet at night, so this blue aura's coming out of the toilet as if it's a portal to another world.
Have a look. I've just sent you a link to the one on. You look on Skype and you'll see the link there. But that's the one that I've bought. It's such a simple thing. It's got a light sensor so that if it's daytime, the light doesn't come on. Or if you switch the light on, the light goes off immediately as well.
Now, that looks very similar to this one I'm looking at. This one here. This one was $12.99.
Yeah, well, this one's $5.99. But to be quite honest, if that's rechargeable, that one that you're looking at, it's probably a USB cable or whatever. Do you want to plug that into your computer after it's been in your loo? Or would you rather just open the back and change the batteries? I'd rather do that.
I'm just going to have a look. I'm very curious to see what it's got there. Well, it actually goes into... this one plugs into a power, like for a shaver point to charge.
Right, well, I don't have one of those, but I'll tell you what I am actually interested in next. The shower head rainbow head water. I've just sent you a link to that as well. It looks absolutely fantastic. So it's an LED for your shower. For your shower head.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, I'd like... See, I like the toilet one. That one really... There we go. This one, is it the Katsumu one, was it?
It was what, sorry?
There's one here for $6.54.
No, it's $5.99, the one that I've bought. It's to the link that I sent you.
Yeah, no, another one just popped up for some reason. Do you know what's going to happen now? When I'm on the internet, I'm going to see these adverts for toilet lights. And if anyone's beside me, they think, what's he got that for?
It's just one of those things. My son thinks it's great as well. My wife's sort of like, oh my God.
No, what I'm going to do is I'm going to order one of those. I'm going to fit it and then see if she triggers it.
It fits in seconds.
Yeah, no, you just goes on. I'm just looking at a picture of the other ones here. You just go underneath, don't they? That's pretty, yeah.
I don't know how on earth I got onto these. I have no idea. That's a frightening thing. I think it was because I'd done the thing for the UV thing at the LED thing at the back of the TV, and this came up as an alternative sort of thing. But there's loads of different versions of them as well.
Can you play music in there as well, and it changes colours to the beat?
Well, that'll probably be the next iteration, or it'll be, Alexa, ask the toilet to play an upbeat track.
We went with the Japanese ones where the lid comes up automatically.
Oh yeah, that'd be quite cool. Well, you look at the Japanese ones, it looks more like you sat on the Captain Kirk's chair on the Enterprise, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh God, okay.
But you're going to get one of those now, aren't you? They are so cool, aren't they?
Yeah. You can buy it. Do you know what? This sounds raw. This sounds crude, but you can buy one used.
I don't think so.
£4.36.
No. But there's absolutely loads of them on Amazon. That's the funny thing as well. But I'd never seen these before, and I just saw it and I thought, no, I've got to have a bit of that.
You see, the thing is, where you got the clip on it for the main part of the device, for the sensor, I think you'd spot that a mile away if it's sitting like
you
that.
would. But if you put it at the side where, the opposite side of where you're coming from.
Yeah, but then because the toilet's in the corner, that side, he wouldn't pick it up with it.
I think it might, as long as she was partly in the beam, it would. Or what you do is you go in and then let her follow you in, and you stand there and trigger it.
Oh dear, we've come to an all-time low talking about toilets.
Yeah, we've hit the rock bottom. Right, okay, let's move on and let's go on to our big debate.
There was something missing.
Okay, so we put it to the vote, and what you told us is that you wanted the best video game heroes as our next big debate. So that's what we're going to bring you. So what we've done is we've identified our 5 top heroes. And interestingly enough, we only have 2 similarities, one of which is in exactly the same place.
Yeah,
ironically. That is weird. So, Steve, do you want to tell us what your top 5 are?
So, 5 have got Nathan Drake. Now, considering when he played one of his games.
Yeah.
But I just think it was classic and outstanding, so hence he's there. In front of him is the female version, which is Lara Croft. 3rd, I've got Leon Kennedy from Resident Evil 2, and he does some others as well. Then I'm surprised you didn't have Solid Snake in there at all, which I've put for number 2.
I did think about it.
He does kick ass. And really, I think number 1 can only be one, which is Commander Shepard.
Yeah.
Or a Femme Shepard.
Yeah, whichever way around you played it. So, okay. So, my ones are, a lot of them are different. So, My number 5 is Bayonetta. My number 4 is Geralt. My number 3 is Lara Croft. My number 2 is, has actually been auto-corrected by my iPad, but it's actually Ezio Auditore. We're not Ezio Audit.
Yeah, I was gonna think of putting him in there, but I needed a top 10.
And my number 1, done separately to yours, was Commander Shepard or Fem Shep, whichever way around that you do it. So, okay, shall we talk about each one then? All right, so Nathan Drake then. So you've really enjoyed playing Nathan Drake from Uncharted 4, is that right?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. And it was such a fantastic game. For me to dive into that first time, you see, I'm frightened to go back because I'm not sure how they will stand up.
To be honest, I think they're much more of the same stuff, but just with slightly less good graphics.
Yeah, because the story was great, and I really took to the character.
I think you should get the Nathan Drake collection because the 1, 2 and 3, they're all good games. You know, they're very cinematic in the way that they're depicted as well. I mean, Uncharted 4 was by far the best, but even that did turn out to be extreme mountain climbing simulator by the end of it.
Yeah, got that.
But
it's funny because there's 2 versions you can buy. You can buy them as a pack, or you can buy them separately as HD remastered.
You just buy the pack
because the pack isn't remastered, though, is it? It doesn't say on the box. You sure?
Yeah. You look in the description, it'll tell you it's a remaster, because they were all originally done on the PlayStation 3. Yeah. So they are remasters. And in a matter of fact, I mean, if you have a look at the difference between the collection and the original ones, there are strange details that they've remastered that you would never notice. Like, for example, I remember watching an interview and the developers saying that there was... Sorry, that's my back door going. That's.
I thought it was like a genie.
That's my Ring doorbell. So obviously someone's come to visit us. I've completely lost my train of thought there with that popping. I was thinking, what on earth is that? The details that they've changed, things like on the on Uncharted, the first one, you start off on a boat, and the developers thought that the way that the boat had this rope that was going, on the deck was wrong, and it was going underneath some big crates or whatever, and they redid all of that and things like that, and you're thinking, really, it's like, why nobody even noticed it? Do you know what I mean? It seemed to me to be a very strange kind of thing for them to adjust on a remaster, but it goes to show the level of detail that they went to. So
true, yeah.
So what is it that particularly you like about him?
I just really warmed to the character. I mean, I love Indiana Jones, and this is probably the closest thing you're going to have to playing an Indiana Jones game. Yeah,
other than a Lara Croft game.
Yeah, no, but I'm about from a male perspective. Let's not get into the female talk. You might save that for another show.
New female indie after Indy 5.
Yeah, please give me a break. I've had enough of these women ideas. I'm sorry.
Well, to be honest, it is changing gender or racial types or whatever of characters.
Is it for the point? Is it just for the? How am I put this without being? I'm not being any way wrong about what they do, because the women are great and they deserve what they do, whether they're actresses or whoever, all the way back to Emily Pankhurst and the suffragettes. But give the males something that we want. Don't start taking everything away.
Well,
female James Bond, it just goes on and on and on.
Female Thor, I'm sorry, but Thor has been male for, all the way back to mythology. It's like they just suddenly decide, let's have a female one. It is literally done for the sake of doing it and being seen to be, a social justice warrior, I think. The
same way with Sulu and the J.J. Abrams,
because Sulu was never a gay character before. There's nothing the matter with having a gay character, but he's just
trying to appease. They're trying to appease certain people for some unknown reason, but you just can't make Indiana Jones.
Well, they can make them
just like that. Out of the blue.
They'll make them what they want to, though, won't they? That's the thing. But what I don't get is there's never, there's never any thing of, like a white male going into, right, we're doing a reimagining of Shaft, and he's going to be, a white collar guy, or we're going to do Queen Elizabeth the second the movie, and John Cleese is going to be Queen Elizabeth.
Or even let's reboot some like a Hot where Marilyn Monroe was in it and make them all blokes.
Yes. Yeah, they're not. It doesn't work, does it? No. It just seems to be that rather than inventing new characters, which to me, taking something that belongs to a set of society and then making it into somewhere where it wasn't designed to be, is actually kind of like saying, well, you only deserve the hand-me-downs. It feels, rather than they can't have something that's been specifically developed for them. Look at Black Panther. Black Panther's designed to represent, ethnic communities and African, nations and all of that, and it's brilliant. Yeah. Why can't we have more original things like that? Rather than taking something and changing it because we want it to fit a different gender or whatever. It seems to me to be the better way of going.
It's beyond belief, to be honest. I think
it's just becoming a joke now. It really is, because everything is doing this now. Anyway, we went onto a different debate there, didn't we? Entirely. Maybe we should do a social justice debate at one point.
Yeah, so your number 5 was Bayonetta.
Yes, I loved this character. I thought Bayonetta was absolutely fantastic.
Well, I haven't played this for years, it feels like, anyway.
I just, she was kind of like that sexy femme fatale, wasn't she? Where, she had all of these powers, that there was, it was a good game to boot, and obviously it's, spawned a sequel as well, which is only very limited because it was only on Nintendo. Yeah. But, it was a great game, and I just thought that she was, a great character, quite nicely thrashed out, kind of like had that Emma Peel going along with, a librarian stroke teacher kind of vibe on her.
You mean a
sexy looking Emma Peel crossed with a librarian? Yeah. Okay. Well, she did, didn't she? Because she had the librarian glasses or the teacher glasses, and then that Emma Peel black bodysuit, jumpsuit sort of thing, or catsuit, isn't it? It's called. So and I just liked her as a character because she was like a very accomplished, very hard go getting sort of character. So I think she was a really good, strong lead.
Yeah. I think all of the characters we got here are pretty much like that. Anyway,
yeah, they are. But some kind of get there in different ways, though, don't they? So do you want to talk about Lara Croft, and we'll share views on that?
I think Lara Croft has been close to probably your heart as much as mine for a number of years now. Yeah. So we're going back to the PlayStation 1, and we've seen this character that's been brought over as some sort of, for the males, like she's like some sort of sexy archaeologist.
Yeah. She's a sexy female Indiana Jones.
Exactly, but it's actually matured better over the years, I think.
Yeah.
And with the idea of the latest movie as well, it's probably taken a step back from that.
I think it has. I think, to be honest, when it was first released, Lara Croft was sold on a sex appeal. If you have sex appeal with triangular boobs. But, but seriously, that we played it partly out of curiosity because of...
But I think, if I remember rightly, I can't remember which FHM year it was, but I think she made the top 10 women, sexy women, if I remember rightly.
And I can't remember, but there was a daytime TV show as well. I can't remember what the woman's name, but she was it wasn't opera, it was a British woman, but, she was a black female presenter, like doing a Jeremy Kyle sort of thing, but before Jeremy Kyle was around. And... it was Lara Croft that made that whole thing come unstuck, because they did a story of my boyfriend is obsessed with Lara Croft, and they had actors come in and act out this story about and it was found out that there were actors. Trish, wasn't it Trisha or something like that? Yeah,
Trisha, yeah.
That was it, and that was the end of that show. So that was quite. It was just a bit of a sideline, just to remember that pulled out of my memory. But to me, Lara Croft is the reason why I didn't put Nathan Drake in here, because I thought they're both pretty much the male and female version of the same character, more or less, or roughly. But to me, Lara Croft is the really original female heroine who came in mid-90s, with that whole, she can handle any kind of situation, and that's it. She's a strong character, great games, certainly the first few, and then it dipped, and then it went back up, and then it dipped. It's been a real roller coaster. But the modern games of Lara Croft, they've reinvented her, but I think they've reinvented her better, as you say. There's not that emphasis on the fact that she's female and her being sexy. It's about
not at all. And I think what helps, is characters like Nathan Drake that have come up behind now has probably helped.
Yeah, chased it along, made it more modern. Because what I quite like, if you remember the Tomb Raider game, the one before Rise of the Tomb Raider, that one had that, it showed you her development going from, somebody who kills someone for the first time to somebody who's basically, a machine gun toting mass murderer in the space of a game. But it had all of those things about, where they were making a big thing about, her showing emotion and the character digitally showing emotion, and shaking and stuff like that, which put in the game, if you remember.
Because she came, I think what happens is she becomes more real.
Yeah, I think it lifted that character a lot.
Yeah.
So, and of course had 3 screen outings on the cinema as well.
Yeah.
There's Lara Croft Tomb Raider, The Cradle of Life, and then there's the new Tomb Raider movie.
Yeah. The other two I haven't seen the new one yet, obviously, but I have watched the others quite a few times. I still wonder why James Bond's in it.
He's not James Bond, to be fair, though.
I know, but he's Daniel Craig, but
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
okay.
good.
Well, my number 4 was Geralt from The Witcher.
Yeah, which I still haven't
Neither have I.
And it's probably a crime to say we haven't completed.
Well, to be honest, I only got to the first city after completing the Phoenix. I've got loads to do on that game.
Oh, I think is the Phoenix was in that field? Yeah, that's roughly where I was. So you might have started it again.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I just don't think I've got the will to go back through that.
I've got all that I've got all the DLC
so have I.
as well.
Yeah, I've got all of that as well. And I keep thinking I need to go back to that game, but then I think it's like 100 hours.
Well, we were complaining, but we needed another game like that. So maybe.
Yeah, at least it's a quiet time.
Turn it on, and have a look. Start it from scratch.
Maybe. But I quite like this character because very different. All of the magic and witchcraft and that he can do. Very hard line. Obviously, the whole series is much more adult orientated as well. Certainly not appropriate for young children. And I just think he's very different from a lot of the more Western sort of characters, like Lara Croft, like Nathan Drake, because wasn't this developed in the East Bloc somewhere? CD Projekt Red, where are they?
They're from Norway, and they are somewhere Sweden.
Okay. Not as far east as I thought, but
no, I'm sure they're.
But you can tell that there's that foreign influence.
He feels like but he does feel like he's a bit of a butch samurai.
Yeah, and he feels quite a developed, thrushed out character, and there's a whole load of lore around him. But obviously, there's 3 games as well,
and a TV series.
Yeah, that'll be quite exciting to see, I think. It's either going to be brilliant or awful.
Netflix is on it.
Well, everything's on Netflix. If it isn't on Netflix, it's on Prime. And it's soon getting to the point of we will say, why do we need Sky?
Oh, I still need Sky. I was watching it.
Yeah, well, so am I. While they've got all of the Marvel stuff on and DC.
Yeah.
But I really liked him as a character, for all of the same reasons as what we've already really talked about. So, what about for you? Did you?
Well, so I say for Geralt, I haven't got a lot of affiliation for him because I've not played the game.
Yeah.
But where I've got Leon Kennedy, I played Resident Evil. I can't think how many times.
2.
Resident Evil 2, yeah. And Leon was in, I think, in
Code was he in that? Or was he in Code Veronica?
Might have been 4 or 5. I can't remember off the top of my head. But the main one we remember him for is he's a member of the Stars Police Force, and he's the character you start with in Resident Evil 2.
He was in Resident Evil 4.
Yeah, I knew it's 4 or 5. and again, it's just something that I still always have fondness for, and I'm still waiting for that remaster.
Well, I think we might be waiting a long time.
Yeah, we keep thinking that. Who knows? But the character is great character. He doesn't pull any punches with what he's going to do. He's fought off all these zombies. You know, you could put him in The Walking Dead as well. I think it'd do all right.
Actually, there's a thought. What they should do is stick Resident Evil in the Walking Dead scenario, so that, you know, what we're watching on there is actually the result of Resident Evil. That would be quite cool.
Yeah. I mean, they're bringing sidetracking here that Fear of the Walking Dead is going to be mixed in, isn't it? So.
Well, I can imagine that, because that's looking at the start of the infestation, isn't it? Whereas The Walking Dead kind of started after everybody had gone and died.
Yeah. Well, to a certain degree, yeah, that's right. But I think for me, Resident Evil needed to be there at some point. So I thought Liam was ideal for that.
Yeah.
But your number 2, I think I still would have had there somewhere.
My number 2, Ezio Auditore,
because he's my favourite character from
he is from mine as well. The reason why I put him at number 2 is because I loved the way in Assassin's Creed 2 that they took this brash, cocky, lady, ladies boy. Ladies man, sort of, and taking him from that sort of like very immature, irresponsible sort of position, and moved him over the period of Assassin's Creed 2 through, the loss of his father and the threats to his family, the loss of his, home and everything, to that whole story that was in Assassin's Creed 2, and then continued that through Brotherhood and Revelations. And I just thought it was really good. I loved the character. I wish they would make more Ezio stories, because there's so much that they could talk about him, and he was such a lovable character. But then they went into Assassin's Creed 3 with the Indian guy, who you looked at and I thought, do you know what, you're not even likeable. Do you know what I mean? He just wasn't a likeable character.
Yeah, I wasn't fond of that character.
No, and it's not to do with the fact that he was a Native American. Yeah, get it right. Because I don't want to offend people, but he was just not a nice character.
Yeah. No, I think with Ezio, and also the environments he was in with Florence.
Yeah.
Which I just love. It's a lovely place to visit if you ever get the chance.
Do you know what? I'm wanting to dig out the Assassin's Creed collection now. I forgot on that.
Well, I haven't completed Ezio collection yet. I'm still on the first game of the 3.
Yeah, so am I.
And there's more achievements to double up on there as well.
I better get on there.
But yeah, the environments and just everything with that, they just work really well. But the
storyline that was set, the setting, I just think that Ubisoft really handled Assassin's Creed 2 well. Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, but a lot of people knocked it. But the story was good. I wasn't so. There was some nice things on the multiplayer in that, and Assassin's Creed Revelations was a little bit all over the place. But I still loved Ezio, and how we'd gone from that brash young man to that old tired assassin by the end of that story arc. I think you don't really see that in other video games.
No, I don't think. No, there's one or two characters that you sort of think about, and to be honest, he's definitely one of those that comes in up there very much.
Definitely.
So, yeah.
Now your number 2 is a character I really struggled about whether or not I wanted to put him in or not.
Why was that? Because I think for the first 2 games, he was such a badass.
He was, but he went off so badly.
See, I've not witnessed those.
It's the whole thing of, oh no, he's big boss, oh no, he's what, and I just thought, do you know what, I don't care. I just like Solid Snake as Solid Snake.
Yeah.
As in, Metal Gear Solid 2. That for me was...
That was the pinnacle of those Snake... I mean, I didn't get to play some of those after. I still need to go and play 5, but 2 was the pinnacle for me at that generation of computer games that we were witnessing.
Yeah, and I completely agree. I think that was the best one. And I just think he's just gone off since then, unfortunately.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, there is. And if there's a back compact game I'd like on the Xbox, would be Metal Gear Solid 2.
Yeah, I'd love that. That'd be good.
Well, actually, the collection they did. There was a 360 collection they did.
Yeah.
You know, and obviously I suppose I'm not sure which way around. We wouldn't have Kurt Russell doing what he did as well.
Well, no, Kurt Russell.
Solid Snake.
Solid was first. Yeah.
Actually, wasn't it? Yeah.
And I just would we have had a Metal Gear Solid and a Solid Snake without Kurt Russell?
I mean, I don't know if Hideo Kojima based him. I'm not really too sure if that's true or not.
I can imagine it would be when you look at him and look at the type of character he is.
Yeah, but he was a no nonsense character that would do the right thing, but at the same time he would break the rules.
Yeah. Yeah, he was. He wasn't afraid to go against everything. Everything that was perceived to be right, where he knew it was the wrong thing to do.
Yeah, such a great game that is.
Yeah, I have to admit, I need to invest more time in the Phantom Pain.
I've not touched it.
I got to the bit outside of the hospital and started, doing the invasion of different places and that. But I was going in during the day, and I think what you're supposed to do is smoke the cigar until it, goes night and then attack.
Yeah, that's true, because you want to do that stealthy. That's what Solid Snake's all about, with the stealth.
It is.
Right? And still getting under that cardboard box and sneaking around.
Yeah. But to me, though, it's a franchise that has completely lost its way, and probably good that it's more or less come to an end, because I think it's past its best now, and I think it's time that it either needs completely
I don't think Hideo Kojima had much. He didn't have much joy. He didn't have much say in the last one, did he? The way that went, there's a lot of controversy.
Yeah, there was, and we'll never know what actually went on there. But I still think it's time that franchise was just left to settle for a while, and then bring it back in 5 or 10 years as a reimagining. When I'm nearly 60.
Don't say that. That's a thought.
That is a horrible thought. I'm starting to feel my own mortality, seeing as I'm getting days away from my birthday.
Do you think so? Leading on to who we've got as number one. Would you like to be frozen for a few years if it was possible?
Come back and see what the future holds?
Yeah, sort of. Maybe not the same way that Sylvester Stallone got frozen in Demolition
No,
Man,
I don't want to know about knitting.
No, and seashells, but
yeah. Well, I always, to be honest, I've always said that I think I was born probably about 50 years too early. Do you know what I mean? But in terms of what my likes are and stuff like that, the type of, that sort of thing, I just think, I was more born to be young in this generation than I was in the generation I grew up in.
Well, it's only because what we've lived with, what we've born with, and what we've used technology-wise, and how it's changed dramatically in probably 20, 30 years that we couldn't imagine.
Yeah. And
in the next 20, 30 years, how that is going to move forward again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a figure of speech, isn't there, as well, of, what's in the world when you're born is natural and just the way the world works. Anything that is developed, in the first 25, after year 12 up until you're about 35 is, exciting and might be something you can get a job with, and anything that's introduced after year 35 is, against the natural order of things.
But what a great character he was. I still think the adventure in the second one really did it.
Yeah, Mass Effect 2 was the best episode, without a shadow of a doubt. But to be honest, if there was ever to be a likening to a series, the original Mass Effect was the Star Wars of the video game era, I think. That's
what Mass Effect. What Star Wars should have been what Mass Effect is, or then, or should we say, not now, because Andromeda is a bit of a sore point. We won't go into that now, but... No, I'm not saying Mass Effect Andromeda, I'm just saying Mass Effect. Yeah, 1, 2 and 3. Yeah, I mean the original trilogy. How that was perceived. Yeah. To me, it's the
original trilogy of Star Wars in video games. You know, it's like it's of the same sort of status as a video game. You know, in video game history, I just think what they did with the story, it was new, it was fresh, it was original.
Even having the game saver there as well for your character.
Well, yeah, I mean, you never got character progression or story progression based on previous games before then, or if you did, I can't remember what they were.
And you did get to have that sexy blue lady. We mustn't forget that.
Yes, that's true. Well, in a matter of fact, when you got to the third one, you could have sex with whoever you liked on the game, couldn't you? You know.
Oh yeah. I need to go back to that. There's
an NPC who only appears in one scene. Oh, that's all right. That's the scene I have sex with her in. You know. It was virtually like that, but also, we're going to go in social justice warrior sort of territory now, but what was quite progressive about this game and what was controversial at the time on Mass Effect 3 was that you could play male Shepard and still have a sexual relationship with one of the other male characters in the game. Or you could you could be Femme Shepard and have a relationship with a female character. So, you know, and that was, you know, it's not so many years ago, but when you think about all of the fuss that was made about that, I mean, I suppose it just goes to prove how much, while we might complain about social justice, how much more progressive we've become as a society in a very, very short period of time. You know, because, you know, a few years ago, you know, not that many years ago, 10 years ago or so, you know, there was a lot more frowned upon now, whereas nowadays you don't blink. In a matter of fact, it's now, to me, got to the point, like I said before, that it's sort of like, really, do we still have to keep banging on about it? You know, let's just, you know, whatever. But back to that other discussion, which we don't want to go into. But how you could, you know, influence the relationship, you know, with whichever character that you actually chose.
Even actually, what was great was the ship you had,
the Normandy.
It was class, and you had that bridge. It was all yours. You had your own room. You were the captain. You made the decisions. The cutscenes.
Yeah.
For the ship and everything.
It was. I mean, it was like playing a movie in parts.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, we won't talk about the elevators in Mass Effect 1.
My local shopping centre was just as good.
Yeah, but no, it was a fantastic story, and of course Commander Shepard was, you know, just such a brilliant character, because it was sort of like he was almost the accidental hero, really, wasn't he? Yeah, because he wasn't exactly what they wanted out of a hero, or actually for the group of elders that were dealing with it. Yeah, so it's, you know, it's kind of like he fell into this position where he had to save the galaxy, which is quite unusual, really. So no, I think, you know, really strong character, you know, the strongest one, and obviously if he saved the galaxy, he's going to be the best. Yeah, absolutely. So, any other ones that you thought about and thought, I'm not going to include? Well, no, I mean, Ezio would have been one. Red Dead Redemption comes to mind. Who else can I think of? Well, actually, even if you go back to Fallout and some of that, you know... Freeman. Oh, not Fallout. That was Half-Life. Half-Life. But yeah, even... And he came to mind as well, actually, funnily enough. And I always want to say Morgan Freeman, but that's the actor. Yeah. No, I say Red Dead Redemption did really come to mind. I say I'm so looking forward to it. It might just seem so far away now when it's coming out, but... yeah, I quite like the guy on Assassin's Creed Rogue as well. Well, I haven't seen that one. Oh, you need to invest in that, because it is actually quite a good game. What about the main character, Wolfenstein 2? I haven't started that game yet. No, I haven't finished the first one. I think that you'll like that. See, we've got loads of games to play. Yeah, and of course we've not mentioned Sam Fisher. Yeah, you know, and he has the voice of, or even the main character in Crackdown. You know, he could be all night. I mean, I was certainly seriously considering Sam Fisher because he has Michael Ironside's voice. So why wouldn't you? Yeah, well then again, you had Jack Bauer, should we say, doing, you know, Metal Gear and that, you know. Yeah. Just comes across different. Master Chief, we didn't mention him. Yeah, I mean, would he be in a lot of people's lists? I would have thought he would have been, like Marcus Phoenix would have as well. Yeah, it's true. You know, and considering the amount of hours that we've invested, we haven't said about the, you know, Warlock or the Hunter.
Oh, dare we talk Destiny?
I don't know, but we haven't done. We haven't talked about that or Hitman. There's just such an incredibly large number of video gaming characters, but these were the ones that just sort of like came straight into my head when I thought, well, those have got to be the ones that make the biggest impression.
Well, considering we did this this afternoon as the last lock-ins, we haven't done too bad.
No, I don't think so. I think we've got some, good ones, and it's nice to see that we've got something different but something the same, and particularly nice that we both got exactly the same number one. Yeah, because I did mine I was doing mine on my laptop, so I did even have this Word document open at the time, and I thought, oh, look at this, it's quite amusing. I got a bit old school with a couple, but we weren't far off. No. Well, we both done old school with Lara as well. So there's not many characters who are much more old school than Lara Croft. But anyway, so with that, shall we move on then to the listener questions?
John, what's happening to us?
All right, so listener question time, and we've had a few, and from Facebook and Twitter this time. So first off, kicking us off, we have Mark, and he's asking us, do you play retro games or use backward compatibility facility much? He said he's recently been playing Crackdown again, and he's totally hooked. Yeah, I mean, I picked up recently, I played some Gallagher. One of my favourite, and I think not that we won't talk about it in this show, but after seeing Ready Player One, I was just thinking some of those old retro games that I do have on the Xbox. I just picked them up, or something similar. You know what I mean? I never get bored of going back. It's a nice little fix to go back to an old game. It is. That. I mean, do you know what? Recently I've been playing an old 360 game, Zuma's Revenge, just because I just fancied something that was a little bit different to the stuff that there is at the moment. And I've also been playing Crackdown myself, although I'm absolutely useless at it.
No, I've done pretty well. I mean, I've done a few hours worth, and I've got quite a lot of orbs, so I've actually built my character up. So I can leap a tall building in a single bound to a certain degree. But I still think there's a market for backwards compatibility. And retro games are getting more popular these days as well. Yeah, it swings and roundabouts with them, isn't it? Because one minute they're in, the next minute they're not. But I think there's a lot of interest in gaming history now, because it's more exciting than actually studying World War II. Well, yeah, I suppose in a way.
I think that, probably got that removed now from the Second World War, that a lot of people just don't have the interest in it anymore.
Yeah. I mean, we've got the Sega Genesis collection coming out on the PS4 and Xbox One shortly. I mean, that's including, even though I've already got Alex Kidd in charge. This is probably wrong actually when I'm reading this. But the Genesis collection for 2018 has got Alien Storm, Biohead Battle, for example. I think it's still got Alex Kidd Miracle World as well, actually, funnily enough. But there's a lot of Golden Axe 3. There's quite a few games there. And if they're all going to be on that list, it'd be huge. But then again, that's it. People like, obviously those that would like to get themselves a Genesis or some of these old retro consoles. At least we're going to be able to play some of those games. Yeah, that's true. With the latest consoles. Yeah, I have to admit, I think I've been distancing myself from retro games recently. They just don't hold the appeal that they used to. I think they've been more appealing to me for a long time because of introducing my son to some of the old games and letting him appreciate where games have come from so he can appreciate what he's got now. But if it wasn't for those games, you wouldn't have half the other things that we got now. That's true. Honest. That's true. But doesn't mean I want to play them anymore. I mean, to be honest, how many times do you want to play Sonic? Well, yeah. I mean, I've got the Sonic games, but I don't. And when I saw that new Sonic game that came out, was it Christmas? I just thought, it's just a rehash of all of the levels that have already been and gone. Why do I want to play them anymore? I want something new from Sonic, something different. And I just think Sonic is a perfect example of one of those franchises that's really struggling. Whereas Mario always seems to go from strength to strength, but Mario has a team of things around it. Sega haven't really pushed their character much over the years. Nintendo is the flagship for their brand. Where Sega did have Sonic, but the brand sort of died a death, didn't it, to a certain degree? It's not really been there like it is with Mario. Mario is Nintendo as much as Sega is Sonic, but Sega isn't around as much these days. If anything, there's remasters and rehashes of what we've already seen. Hence, we're getting this collection on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One X.
I think it'll be interesting to see what will happen in the next year, because there was rumours last year that Atari were looking at bringing out a new console.
That's still happening, isn't it?
I've not heard anything for a long time about that, but it'll be interesting to see what that is. Is it a retro console, or is it something that's going to be powerful? And then, where's your brand loyalty going to be then? Is it going to be Xbox, PS4 or Atari?
Well, actually, but if you look at that, I'm just looking at a picture of that so-called first picture of this new console.
Yeah.
It looks very retro.
It does, but some of the things I've read about the specs of it is that it's sort of like up there with a PS4. And then other things I've read have said that it's a retro console, exactly the same as, the SNES Mini.
Yeah.
So we need more information on that.
Wait and see.
Definitely. So do you want to read Mark's second question?
So how relevant will back compat be in the future generation? Or will it be like a back compat, though? Because we class back compat, let's say, for example, in the Xbox is a 360. Yeah. Let's say when we move forward from when the generation we've got now, it's going to take a while before we move to the next stop from that.
Well, here's a thought for you. Is a non-Xbox One X enhanced game actually just a backward compatible game?
Yeah, or it's like saying that will the games on the Xbox One X now, when the next generation of proper generation comes out, will these ones be back compatible?
And to be honest, I think what backward compatibility has shown is that people want it. And
totally.
I think both the main consoles will take it forward in the future.
Do you think if there's going to be an announcement for the PlayStation 5
it'll
at
be
E3...
backward compatible with the 4?
Yeah, but will it be back compat with anything else?
No.
Because their version of Game Pass, shall we say, doesn't do very well.
To be honest, that's not backward compatible. That's a cheating backward compatibility. The Xbox One is
that's
proper
right.
backward compat.
Yeah. So would you like, not saying you would, but if you had a favourite game on the PlayStation 1, would you want to play it on the PlayStation 5?
I would think it'd be a bonus to have the option to play it. It'd be certainly something I would feel more favourably on. Or
even in this case, because obviously some of these discs are going to be few and far between. Obviously, downloading a digital version.
Well, they're only going to be a few 100 megabyte.
They'd be quick to download, wouldn't they? It'd be like a blip.
Yeah. I personally think that backward compatibility's got to be included in future generations, because when you actually look at the PC, you don't have backward compatibility, you have games, and that's what we're talking about. It's just because it was built for an older system, it's still a game. And I think that now they've moved the architecture to a point where they can roll forward. Because it's more PC based, I think they're at a point now where they can move forward, offering that backward compatibility.
Yeah.
That's just my view. What about yourself?
I think PlayStation should definitely look into this, because it's done so well for Xbox. Yeah. And they should do. I think I don't know why they haven't, personally. So, interesting.
Okay, so we'll move on to Facebook questions. So, Andrew Emsley has said, will Colin McGregor ever fight in the UFC again?
I haven't got a clue.
Neither do I, to be quite honest, because I don't follow UFC fighting. So, sorry. Yes? No, I don't know. No idea. No idea at all. All right. We shall see, yeah. So, Nicky Wilson. This is good. This is a good one. I like this question.
Right. So so I knew you would. So The Last Jedi is out on Monday on Blu-ray. Rank all 8 movies in order from best to worst. Or actually, it should be from worst to best, shouldn't it?
So go on then, Steve.
And I haven't seen this question until now, so I'm a bit off the wrong foot. So worst movie is The Last Jedi.
Correct. I agree wholeheartedly.
From there, going from to best, I think I would then say the next worst one would be Star Wars Episode 1.
Yeah.
Star Wars Episode 2.
I would disagree.
Then Star Wars Episode... Then Star Wars Episode 3.
Okay.
Okay. And then, from then onwards, I would put... It'd be Star Wars, Return of the Jedi, and The Empire Strikes Back.
What? You've missed one out. Force Awakens.
Oh... I will probably put that before Star Wars. So it'll be in between. So I put it between Star Wars and Episode 3.
Right, okay. My one would be The Last Jedi is the worst, followed by The Phantom Menace, followed by The Return of the Jedi. So it was quite a weak one, was that? And the Ewoks killed it.
Is that because you didn't like the Ewoks?
The Ewoks killed it to me. And any film that suggests that, carnivorous teddy bears can destroy an intergalactic empire with star destroyers and whatever when they've got arrows and sticks doesn't feel quite right to me. So anyway, next, that's my opinion.
Carry on.
Next, episode 2, episode 3.
Actually, I missed one out. Another one I missed out on.
Well, I think because he said 8 movies, he's only talking about.
So he's not including Rogue One, is he? Which is one of my favourite movies, actually.
Where would you put Rogue One?
I would put that just behind Empire.
Right, okay. So my last ones would be... This is hard now, because I'm left with the good films now.
I know. I mean, to be honest, I need to go back and think about this again.
Yeah, maybe we could do it as a debate sometime of which is the best Star Wars.
Well, we could have... What we could do...
Star Wars special.
Could do is we could... When we do the Star Wars special on The Last Jedi, and we have our nitpickings on that.
Because we are going to do that as well because of the new release of the movie. We're going to try and record that soon.
Yeah, and then we should add that question in there.
Yeah,
which I think would be better.
So I'm going to say,
I know Empire's your favourite.
Yeah, I
think it's everyone's favourite, to be honest, to a certain degree.
Unless you're the person who asked it.
Don't even go there, Nicky.
Yeah, he likes Ewoks. What can I say?
Well, I like Return of the Jedi. It's great.
I like all of them apart from the one that was the bottom one.
Well, actually, if you were to say about hating fluffy creatures, I think Jar Jar Binks.
Well, why do you think I put that as number 2 as the second worst one?
Yeah.
But I would rather suffer Jar Jar Binks right the way through the movie on every movie than have The Last Jedi. So, right, okay, so I'm going to have to make a decision. So I'm going to say The Force Awakens, A New Hope, Rogue One, Empire.
Yeah, might be about right.
So, yeah, that would be my opinion on those movies. Okay, so, like I said, keep a listen out for the special. So, your turn.
Oh, no, it's actually your turn.
Oh, yes, it is. Sorry.
Yes.
My apologies.
That's all right.
Michael Edwards. Hello, Michael. What are your thoughts on Far Cry 5? Brilliant. In short, refer to previous podcast and the gaming section in this one for my views on that.
Yeah, I'm thinking, actually, I've got a Argos voucher for £10.
Yeah, was that from the purchase of your mic by any chance?
No, it's actually the purchase of my desks.
Right, okay. Did you not get one with your mic?
No, I didn't go there. I went somewhere else, but that's just the way it was because I wanted it now. But no, because I've got my well, we didn't even talk about my desk, but I've got my desks in here now, so those things there.
The things that Steve's been banging the way through, which I'll edit out to my best of ability, but there'll still be some.
Oh, I do apologise. Anyway, but yeah.
Right.
Might purchase it like that, but yeah.
Yeah.
So.
You want to.
Okay, shall I go to Craig's question? So, No Man's Sky, will you be giving the next update a try, Hayden? Next update a try, Hayden. How are you getting on with your flight stick?
Well, that's 2 questions there. So, first off, No Man's Sky, Steve, have you played it?
For 10 minutes.
Wow, you lasted that long.
Yeah, and I'm not sure whether or not
you could have played it anymore.
Whether I play it on the Xbox.
Oh yes, because of the exclusive that's coming to Xbox.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting actually because you're going to have it's going to be nice to hear what you think of this because although you've heard me talk about this numerous times over the last 3 years and before that anyway, we were just, well, no, actually 3 years since it's re-released. You haven't really played this in any way, shape or form to form a massive opinion about it. No,
but I'm going to get to use the best controller ever.
Have you got a Duke? Or do you mean... yeah.
A Duke?
If you're doing it on the Xbox.
Oh, we haven't talked... We're not... Duke's not out until May.
Right, sorry, I thought that's what you were hinting at you were getting one.
It might be in someone's basket.
It was an awful controller.
Anyway, but I may say, with what we got now as controllers, it might feel better playing it on the Xbox.
Well, be slightly different experience, won't it? Definitely.
Yeah. We'll leave it at that, shall we?
Yeah. So for me, I don't know if I'm done with No Man's Sky, to be honest. I can't be bothered investing the time in figuring out the new stuff and how it all works and what I have to do.
I mean, if these updates are going to improve the game, it might be a excuse me, it might be a better game from what it was at the start.
It might be. It is a better game than what it was at the start. But I've been playing it. I completed it on the PlayStation, and I'm not bothered anymore with it. It's not one that I think, I sit there laying in bed thinking, I should have a go on that.
Yeah. Because
I played the hell out of it. I invested 30, 40 hours of my time in it, in its pre-patch state. And to be honest, I've got what I want out of it. So I have got it on PC as well. But again, I'm not that bothered. So, no. And as for the flight stick, I haven't really used it that much. Spent all that money on a flight stick and not used it. But that's because I've gone more back to console gaming because of the X and the Pro. Although I do now subscribe to Humble Bundle's monthly collection, and there was quite a good collection of games in the Humble Bundle monthly one this time. There was Mafia 3 as one of the games, and that also came with some DLC as well, which is quite good. There was AR Memories of Old, Deus Ex Mankind Divided, God Eater 2, Rage Burst, Lara Croft Go, Laser League, and Outlast 2 and Subterranean. So it's quite a collection of games there, as including some DLC as well. So I think it's quite good value. But going back to the original question, because I digressed a little, the flight stick, it's brilliant, but not played it much, but I will.
Yeah, of course you will.
So we've got Mark Prudhomme, who's asked a question of what are your early thoughts on E3. Hopefully we'll see new games and a bit more footage of games already announced. Can't imagine much in terms of hardware. Do you think E3 is slowly becoming a bit less relevant now we have PSX Paris, which will take some of the limelight away?
I mean, I was trying to dig out the post I read somewhere about Microsoft for this E3. And there's talk of a possibility of the next game from Project Red being obviously the Cyberpunk.
Yeah. Well, that was touted last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, but there's rumours it's been touted that Microsoft might have first offerings on that in some sort of way. I don't think it would be more of an exclusive, because I think those are going to be more thinner as the years progress now.
I think it'll be a timed exclusive.
But I think Microsoft probably will get to show that one on stage. So we'll see. I mean, there's so much going around that what could happen, what can't. I mean, I'm not too fussed about the PlayStation 5 if I can wait for that for a while. I mean, if they talk about it this year, will it come out next year, or would it be the year after? It's got to be 2 years away.
Yeah, I can't really see them releasing the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox next.
Do you think they'll bring out another 0.7 with a Blu-ray player?
Yes, I think that's the most likely thing to happen, because I personally think that Sony are shooting themselves in the foot by not including a new HD.
Well, do you know what? I had an email from PlayStation this week saying thank you for your first year with the PlayStation. Right. And they said, would you like to take a sort of go down the route, tick a few boxes of what your thoughts are on it, blah, 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 something like that. So, and the last bit says, is there any, what consoles do you have? What do you play them for? And anything else you'd like to mention? And I did say that my biggest disappointment was that you didn't put a 4K Blu-ray player in your box. And I said I'd be playing most of my games on the Xbox and exclusives on the PlayStation. That's why I put it to them. Maybe they will listen, maybe they won't, I don't know.
Well, they'll do what they want to do, won't they? But to be honest, I don't think that the argument that, we've heard in the past of, they won't do that because they're selling Blu-ray players, UHD players. They're not going to go into competition with themselves. Of course they will. They did that with Blu-ray on the PlayStation 3 because the Xbox had DVD, the PlayStation had a Blu-ray drive, and they were the ones who were selling the Blu-ray drives at that point as well. One of the only manufacturers, or the main manufacturer. So personally, I just think that they've shot themselves in the foot. But
yeah, I totally agree. I say, well, see what happens. I'd be really interested to see how it progresses, and it'd be another great year for both consoles. And I'm sure all the other stuff that'll be announced.
Sorry, when I'm saying shooting themselves in the foot, I mean, obviously, they are the winners of this generation so far, but in terms of, it was just a bad business move, I think.
Well, that was probably more the Sony side of the rest of their departments and what they have in place.
But the rest of their departments aren't really making that much money, are they?
No, I don't think so. But yeah.
So what are your predictions then?
Me? I'd say another PlayStation, but not the full 5.
Yeah.
Game wise, I'm not too sure really. I mean, I've got a sneaky feeling Crackdown 3 will be delayed till next year.
I think that'll be very difficult for them to do now.
And
I think it'll be a fall release.
Yeah, and I'm with all the games that have suddenly are now materialising to get release dates. I think Spider-Man's coming out in September
7th, isn't it?
That looks great, doesn't it?
Looking forward to playing that on the Pro.
Yeah. So I'm thinking what I really want to see is seeing Cyberpunk out there in the wild. See some footage.
Yeah, I think what we're going to see is more VR.
Well, you can save that bit for the last question. Or do you want to bring that in now while you were talking about it?
Yeah, well, I'll leave it. I'll say what I think later on. Yeah.
Okay. Actually, just one other thing. I got a feeling that we're going to see a new Fable game.
Yes, I do as well. Multiplayer Fable game.
There'll be something there that I think Rare will be dealing with it.
I think Rare will be dealing with it, and it'll be based on the stuff that they'd already done with the Fable Legends or whatever it was called, the one that we were in the preview for. And I think Scalebound will come back.
Yeah. Do you think we're going to see changes to the live services for Xbox, for example? Do you think they'll want to throw in the Game Pass at a slightly different rate?
No, I think that they'll be quite happy keeping it separate. So what you might see is buy both and you get a discount. Yeah. But I think that'll be as close as you'll get. So,
which actually we're talking about that now. That's just Justin's next question.
Yeah. So
do you reckon we appreciate games less nowadays? So I have a PS4 Pro and Xbox One full of games, and when you consider other services like Game Pass, EA Access, I really sometimes feel overwhelmed by the sheer amount of games to play and find it really hard to concentrate on the most of them. So really, he's like I'm the same, to be honest. You're a kid in the candy store and what you've got on your box, and you struggle to put something on. And what do you think? And keep purchasing something doesn't make it easier.
No, it makes it harder. I mean, I've got installed on my one box. I've got installed 372 games with about another 200 waiting to be installed. And on the PlayStation, I've got about 160 games installed with 254 games in total. So, I mean, a lot of the Xbox games are backward compatible games as well. Stuff that I bought previous gen. But I don't know about you, but sometimes it takes me longer to figure out what to play than it does to actually play. Because sometimes you get in that mood. Right? Okay, I want to do a shooter, but I don't want to do a shooter that's third person. Okay, but I don't want to do a Gears sort of shooter that's third. Okay, but I don't want to do Master Chief. Right, okay. So, but I don't want to do that, and then you end up going through this ever-dwindling list, and then you get to the end of it and you go, actually, I don't feel like a shooter now. and I think it is that you're spoilt for choice, whereas if you only had 2 games, it's like flip a coin. I think I spend more brain power working out what I want to play than I do actually playing it.
I mean, I didn't get a chance. Well, I did because I got disrupted to do some work in the wife's woman cave. Sorry. I did put on City Skylines, but I need some time to think with that game. It's the wrong time to put it on.
That is a game that you need to sit down and concentrate on. I was like the same with Civ 6, because it had been ages since I played Civ and I was playing it, and although it plays very similar, I was sort of like, oh god, I can't remember everything I'm supposed to be doing and when.
Yeah. But yeah, it gets difficult.
It does. First world problems, mate. That's what it is.
It's like sometimes when you want to watch a movie, you look at that collection, you've got, right, what am I going to buy?
Yeah. And I have about 700 DVDs and then about another 300 Blu-rays, so that's a big movie collection to figure out what you want to watch.
Yeah.
It is a case of more is less.
Okay, do you want
Alan's one as well. Which of these Star Trek series do you rate as the best one? Voyager, Enterprise, or Deep Space Nine? I cannot decide which one to watch on Netflix.
I would watch probably. I mean, I do like. If anything, Enterprise is my least out of the three. But there's some great episodes in Deep Space Nine,
especially when Worf comes on,
and even when Kirk's in it. There's some.
Yeah, the Trouble with Tribbles. Sorry, Trials and Tribulations.
That's it, Trials and Tribulations, which is, I think, one of my favourite Deep Space Nine episodes because that was so well put together, but actually cutting in the Trouble with Tribbles.
To be honest, it was probably my favourite of all time. It's brilliant.
And there's another episode with Deep Space Nine. We'll put it in front. Is when there's a time vortex of some kind that takes the Ferengi back to the
Little
50s,
green men.
I think they're apart.
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, that is a hilarious episode.
It is. Yeah, so they're going to Area 51.
Yeah, it's just done so well as well. It just makes me laugh.
So you're saying Deep Space Nine then?
Oh, absolutely.
For me, I would agree Deep Space Nine. It's definitely the best. It's more gritty than The Next Generation. I like the characters. I particularly like Julian Bashir. You know how you identify with a character?
He's class, isn't he? I mean, we even stood too far away from him, have we?
No, but we couldn't get his autograph.
Bit busy, wasn't it? But he is such an excellent person. You know, he really does. But even Sisko, I love him as well.
Avery Brooks, although he's really weird now when you actually see him in interviews. You know, he's very eccentric. But yeah, I think Deep Space Nine's, a great show. I think it was much undervalued. But I'm going to call you on Enterprise, to be honest, because I actually liked Enterprise. I know it's an unpopular decision, is that? But
Hayden being unpopular, I wouldn't have thought that.
Fancy me going, against the grain. When do I ever do that?
But then I can't believe you're not putting Voyager.
Well, to be honest, I would only have 7 of 9 reasons to do that. I like.
But no, there is some good time travel episodes in Voyager. And the Borg episodes are pretty cool as well. I mean,
I'm not being funny, but the whole Voyager became a lot better when 7 of 9 came on, and that's not because Jerry Ryan was. No, well, actually, I think it improved. Season 1 was a bit slow, and I think you do get that with most of the shows. As it picks up and you get more familiar with the characters and they build their stories in the background and you get more to know about them, the shows do improve. They do.
But where Deep Space Nine, originally I thought this is going to be a bit odd. It's a space station. What are they going to do? Well, they've got the Defiant. They got a wormhole and and the whole Marquee thing as well, and how that played out with the changelings and the Jem'Hadar that came in with the changelings and stuff like that. All of that, it was really good, and also the religious aspects for the my brain's gone. What Bajorans? All of that. The Kai Wynn. And how she was and everything. It was so well developed. Voyager did get good towards the end, and Enterprise, to me, it was Star Trek, but because it was a prequel, it was different.
They didn't have all of the technology that they did in the other shows because transporters weren't trusted, so most of the time they were going about on shuttle pods. They didn't have phasers. They didn't have shields and things like that. They polarised the hull plating. It was all of those sort of things. So they were up against it. And then they brought in the whole storyline of the threat of, on Earth in season 3, which was really good. End of season 2, beginning of season, throughout season 3, that storyline was really good. There was some really good episodes in season 4 with, Brent Spiner reprising his role at Butters Noonien Sung, or his his grandfather or whatever it was. So I actually liked it, and I quite liked the characters in there as well. Trip Tucker, Malcolm Reed, both of which we saw at Star Trek convention. I like both of their characters, and also Scott Bakula as Jonathan Archer, and I've always been a bit of a Scott Bakula fan. So, and that guy, he never seems to age. I mean, he looked like in his 40s when he was in his 20s, and now he's in his 60s or 70s, and he still looks like he's in his 40s. Sort of like, it's obviously all of that jumping about on Quantum Leap that's messed up with his looks for his looks have time travelled.
True. Do you want to finish on your VR?
All right, so Gareth Cutcliffe has sent us a question on Twitter, which was, what are your thoughts on VR in general? What I was going to say was, for the next E3 and whatever, I think what we'll do is we'll see Sony announcing a new version of PSVR that's wireless, and I think that we will see Microsoft adopting Windows Mixed Reality as the VR unit for the Xbox. In terms of my view in general, I think a lot of it is overhyped. I think there are very few examples of good games that are in VR.
Well, they're just experiences, really. There's a couple of full-blown games, but there's nothing there that shouts out at me. It's just, they dropped the price on the PlayStation, haven't they?
They have.
By £100, haven't they? I think it is. Yeah, but it's not.
It's kind of made me think, do I get a PlayStation one? A little bit. And then I think, no, because I want an NVIDIA 1080 in my PC. So, I can't afford, I can afford both, but I don't want to afford both. So I'm sort of like, a little bit, but I mean, the NVIDIA 1080 is like twice as much as a VR anyway. But I mean, I've got Windows Mixed Reality. And I'll tell you what I actually did for the first time, because what you can do is you can play the Xbox through the Windows Mixed Reality headset now, but through your PC. So you have the Xbox app, and you stream it to your PC, and then in your VR living room, in your Windows Mixed Reality area that you have, because you launch everything from an apartment that you habit, you live in terms of this VR area. You can make massive screens, so you could have a 20-foot screen in relative comparison to you to actually play a game. And I was playing Far Cry 5 through my VR headset, and it worked well, worked fine. Absolutely no problems, and it just looked like I was looking at a massive TV but with low fidelity, because what you got to remember is that the Windows Mixed Reality headsets, they're 1440 by 1440, which is better resolution than Oculus or HTC Vive, and it's still it looked last gen sort of thing to me. Looked more like something you get on a 360, and when you did get a lot of movement, you could tell that the frame rate wasn't there as well, and if you're not careful, you can start to feel queasy, so I just gave up. So I think it fits it. VR's brilliant on certain games like driving simulators or on Elite and games like that, but for most gaming, it's not a thing. Games have to be specifically designed or be naturally, a natural habitat for VR to get the best out of them. I mean, let's wait till E3. I mean, my thoughts may change. We'll see. I'm not sure still yet. I'm still about it all. I mean, are you tempted by PSVR?
Not at that price.
What if it came down to 200?
Still a bit, maybe. But then again, I don't want experiences. I want proper games.
Yeah.
I don't want to pretend to be Spider-Man for 10 minutes and look at my hands and jump on a building.
That's
not what I
want to do Resident Evil 7 in VR?
Well, I've completed the game once. I think that's enough. No one else. Well, actually, the only person I know that also has finished it is Nicky. He's actually just finished it recently, the last weekend. But the idea of playing Fallout, maybe, I don't know, it depends. But I think some of these games, you're not actually walking, you're teleporting, aren't you? Which I don't like the sound of that, to be honest. That's something else I'm not that fussy.
It's all right. It's just not. You very quickly get used to it. It's very intuitive, to be honest.
Yeah, but to be honest, I did love when I played the Oculus doing Elite Dangerous. That was awesome.
Yeah. Well, that's the type of game that is its natural habitat, I think. That sort of simulatory kind of thing. But let's face it, you're not going to watch VR to do Mario. Not that you could, but, if you could, you still wouldn't do it. Because it's just not the right environment for it.
True, yeah. But it's...
Yeah.
We'll see.
Okay. So, that's about it for this week. So, Steve, do you want to just give your contact information? And we've got new contact information, haven't we?
We have, haven't we? Yes. I've got to still talk to you about that in a minute. Anyway, so Twitter is @Steve007, PSN ID, The Real Steve007, Xbox Steve007, and my email is steve007@popculturegamers.co.uk.
Yay! Woohoo! Woohoo! And mine, if you want to watch my YouTube channel, just search for Hayden Reese Jones. Twitter is HERJUK, PSN, Xbox Live, and Steam is HERJUK. And my email is HERJUK@popculturegamers.co.uk. We have a Facebook group. Please come along and request to join, and we'll let you in. We also have our new podcast email address, so if you've got any queries about the show, then you can email us at podcast@popculturegamers.co.uk, and don't forget our website, which is http://popculturegamers.podbean.com. And that's it for this week. That's everything. So hope everybody has a good week, and we'll see you very soon with our next episode. Otherwise, it's a good night from him.
And good night from me.
Good night.
Good night.
You are about to witness history in the making.